105.5 KD Country.
Live from Dan River High School, it's time for Colonels basketball, the Altavista Colonels on 105.5 KD Country. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are. I'm Kyle Haney. He is Agent Zero, Oscar Briggs. Mr. Briggs, it's the 11-2 defending 1A state champion Altavista Colonels taking on the 13-3 defending 2A state champion Dan River Wildcats. We've been thinking about this one for a long time. Dan River won the first meeting. We'll see if that trend continues here tonight in Ringold. How are you, Mr. Briggs?
Well, I'm good, and we have been looking forward to it. Altavista was leading by 5 with about 5.5, 6 minutes left in that ball game at home, and they were really pretty much shut out the remainder of that ball game as Dan River made a big push and closed them out by some pretty decent margin. And here we are at Dan River, and I got to tell you, this place is old school. It's packed.
It is packed. It is standing room only in every sense of the word. I believe we've got a sellout on our hands. If it's not there yet, it'll be there very shortly. I don't think too many more fans are going to squeeze into this sardine can down here in Ringold. It's a nice sardine can, though. Let's throw that out there. We were talking earlier. Fun place to come down and watch a ball game. The fans are loud. They're into it. I didn't say it was an easy place to play a ball game, but it's an easy place to watch.
And they absolutely know their basketball here, and they are fans in the true sense of the word, and they will get after the fans are right up on the court, and they'll get after the opposing team pretty heavy here. Nothing wrong with that. Never been anything dirty that we've seen. This is old school. It promises to be fun tonight.
And the thing, like I said, is Dan River, the defending 2A state champions. They've been in the state tournament probably 6 out of the last 7 years. So it's a Ringold crowd that knows good basketball. Like you said, they appreciate the fact that their team is a winner, and they appreciate the fact when other good ball clubs come into town. The Altavista Colonels fit that description to a T. I got a chance to catch up with the head coach, Mike Cardellaro. He talked about the win over Gretna Tuesday, and we previewed this one as well. Sit tight, strap on your safety belt tonight for this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's the Wildcats, it's the Colonels. You've got yourself a ringside seat on 105.5 KD Country.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not going to make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in. Bring the family and see your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Installing Atrium vinyl replacement windows is like an investment in your home that can begin to pay dividends right away. You can save up to 30% or more on your home's heating and cooling costs. Add to your home's equity and add to its value by upgrading its looks and energy efficiency. Custom crafted Atrium vinyl replacement windows. Invest in your home's future with English's.
English's is your complete home center.
Business 29 Altavista.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway pregame show returns down in Ringold tonight for the Altavista Colonels taking on the Dan River Wildcats. My guest, as always, the head coach Mike Cardellaro. Coach C, before we get to the Wildcats, let's talk about your home game Tuesday with the Hawks. You get a 62-24 win. Nice team effort from everybody. Michi got hot at the start, and it seems like we're talking about Mr. Malback a lot more and more on these pregame shows.
Yeah, we knew they were going to come out and play a zone, or at least we expected that. And, you got to hit some shots. And I think Michi hit 3 threes early, got us going. And defensively, we were talking about trying to be better, about the drive. unlike in the Brookfield game, and that was a little bit better. And you're right, Donnie. Donnie is starting to play more minutes and better basketball. And with Demetrius being out and injured, hopefully that might be a gift for us later on, because we're certainly building some minutes with Donnie and everybody else.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to bring a guy like Montague off the bench at 6'5". Not many people have that luxury. I think he scored 14 points, and boy, it seems like for a first-year guy, he really understands basketball, because, when Juan was cutting to the basket or in transition, always seemed to know the right area to go to get open.
Yeah, I mean, he's very smart. He's a very good athlete, but he still hasn't logged that many minutes. And finally, after, 12, 13 games now, we're starting to see some of that pay off. And, hey, he can step out and knock down a three. We want him to be able to do that, and he can go in and get a rebound. So he's pretty versatile. And we're hoping as we continue to go towards the end of the season, his minutes will climb. And then, we're getting Demetrius back next week, so that's going to be huge, and we'll see how all that works out.
Yeah, the news on Demetrius is very good. Going to be nice to see him again. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the Wildcats now. First time the game here, 56-40. It was a game you guys had a lead, halfway through the fourth quarter, and it all seemed to fall apart there. What can you do to avoid maybe a letdown late like that if you do have a lead again?
Well, if I had an answer to that one, I would have used it in the last game. Demetrius got hurt, and we hung in there, and at 4.5 minutes, we're up 5. They call timeout, and they score on 2 possessions. And honestly, we didn't do a thing right from that point on. I've really not witnessed that here ever. It's just a combination, and it snowballed, and give Dan River credit for stepping up and doing everything correct, and we did everything wrong. But certainly on the road it's going to be even tougher, with the hostile crowd there. And, we're going to have to be smart. We've got to maintain our composure, and we're going to have to use timeouts and, to slow down their momentum if they get on any kind of runs. And hopefully that doesn't happen to us late. And, we hope that, we got a shot at them in the fourth quarter, too.
Yeah, I know you guys are going to bring a big fan contingent down here tonight, but their crowd always seems to get behind their ball club. They've seen a lot of great teams down there at Dan River. This one, no exception. What do you do to minimize the crowd's influence? Like you said, I know using the timeouts, but what else? Is it just a matter of trying to prepare the guys the day before and on the ride down for a big crowd?
Well, I mean, you do that, and our guys have been in some big games, but, that gym is tough. There's no doubt about that. And, hitting a couple shots always keeps the crowd at bay. But, we've tried to compare it to Duke, and instead of dreading or fearing it, almost like the challenge and the fun of it, with people really trying to get under your skin and get you to lose your composure. So it's a big test for us, and we need it. We need this, because when we get down the road, we're going to run into this type of situation again. And it's helped us in the past, battling with these guys. We haven't come out with the W's against them, as much the last few years. That's obvious, but I think playing against these guys have made a big difference for us in the playoffs.
Yeah, it seems like you guys always seem to build off these wins, and this is obviously one of the toughest teams you play all year. A couple more questions about the Wildcats before we get to the shout-outs. Their dynamic guard, Q Stevens, everything seems to start with him. Now, he's got a cast around him for sure, but talk about the problems he presents, and is stopping him one of the major goals, or is it a question of stopping everybody?
We're not going to stop him. We need to slow him down. Stevens is about 6'1" and can really get to the lane, and we've really focused on trying to keep him out of the lane. And you got to pick your poison here, and for us, we're hoping we can keep them outside and they don't shoot real well. But Stevens does make things go. He's a good-sized point guard. He hit some off-balance shots against us the first time, that you don't always expect to see go in. So hopefully we can slow him down a little bit, keep him out of the lane, and maybe he doesn't shoot well, but it does start with him for sure.
Well, it is the last time the seniors will get a chance to play Dan River. No district tournament anymore. With that being said, is there something extra on the line, or, as always, are you trying to treat it like just another ball game?
Well, it's just another game, but let's face it, it's Altavista and Dan River, and it's been high intensity for a number of years, and it's going to be like that tonight too. But we got to take what we've learned in the past, the first game, and improve on it tonight, and hopefully we'll carry this into the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
Should be a fun one down here from Ringold, expecting close to a sellout crowd anyway, so I imagine some folks weren't able to make the drive down. Shout-out list might be a little longer.
Yeah, shout-outs go to my dad, as always, in Buena Vista, and William and his family, William Kerr. I know they're listening in. Micah and his family in Manassas are listening in. The Maryland group, Ann and Chris, I know they're listening in. I think you got a little bit of snow up that way. We've been fortunate on that. In Orlando, I know they didn't get any snow down there. I know Minnie has been listening to all the games. And Sarah in Swanson and Dolores Stromheller, our neighbors who have been in attendance front row at the home games, I think they're listening in tonight. Great neighborhood for us. We're fortunate to have those folks, and they come into the game. And tonight they're not there, and anybody else, I'm not sure, but we're going to get in there and scrap and see what we can do.
It's going to be a fun one here from Ringold. Colonels, Wildcats tipping off in about 10 minutes on 105.5 KD Country.
Have you looked at your business banking fees lately? I'm Sean Stone with First National Bank, and we have the best business accounts which offer serious savings for your company. We have a full menu of business products from checking accounts and remote deposit capture to online banking. And we have a local merchant card representative who will customize services just for your business. So let First National Bank prepare an analysis of your current activity and show how we will reduce your banking fees. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's cold in here. Will your heating system keep you warm this winter, or will you spend a cold evening shivering under the covers? Have your heating system inspected today by Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling. Kent Tyree has over 20 years experience and specializes in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Licensed and bonded. Call for an appointment today. 309-2266. 309-2266. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling.
We're back at Bug Motors on Highway 29, 3 miles south of the Lynchburg Airport. We're talking with Joe, one of the owners at Bug Motors.
Hey, thanks, Dave. You know, here at Bug Motors, we take our customer service as our highest priority. That's why we have our ASE certified master technicians go through every vehicle before it hits the lot, making sure we can deliver our highest quality product to the public. We not only want to take care of the customer beforehand, but for the years to come as well. And remember, you can buy a car anywhere, but you can only buy us here at Bug Motors. Visit bugmotors.com for more information.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway pregame show returns from Dan River High School. The Altavista Colonels getting set to tip it off against the Dan River Wildcats. I am Kyle Haney. He is Oscar Briggs. And Big O, the Simple 6 menu from Subway. Value made simple every day. Choose from our best 6-inch sandwiches, a bag of chips, and a 20-ounce fountain drink for just $6. That's the Simple 6 menu at Subway. And speaking of Subway, you can get a free 6-inch sub just for signing up with the KD Country Reached app. That's REACHT. Download it in your app store and then join the KD Country group. And we're asking a basketball question on there right now, Mr. Briggs. We want to get your thoughts and all the Reached users' thoughts on what's the outcome of this ball game. I think your choices are Dan River wins big, Dan River wins a close one, Altavista wins in a blowout, or Altavista wins a close one, or not a Hoops fan. Just get me back to the real country music. Hopefully nobody's selecting that one anyway if they're listening to our broadcast.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, those are some nice choices. And we talked about coming down here, and you talked about with Coach Cardallero a near sellout. I was just out in the lobby, and it's officially a sellout.
Yeah, confirmed. No more fans going to be let in here tonight unless there was a mass exodus for some reason, and that won't happen until the end of the game. So if you're riding around or you're on the way down from Altavista or from any other point for that matter, you may want to stop and either get yourself a bite to eat or just hang out in the car and listen to us. We're going to try and bring you the award-winning coverage here tonight in the Subway pregame show. Anyhow, let's talk about that first game between these two, Oscar. You touched on it just a little bit. Colonels had the lead with about 4.5 minutes left to go in the ball game, and they never scored again. Dan River ended up winning by 16, 56-40. And it's odd to have a 16-point win because the game was so much closer than that for really the duration of the game, except for the last, 2 minutes, was finally said and done. But even in that run Dan River was having, Altavista was not counted out until it was all said and done.
No, they competed and just couldn't get any breaks, couldn't get the ball to go in. Let's face it, anytime you play a Dan River team, one of the things you have to talk about is their athleticism. And certainly that played a big factor as they stepped up and really played lockdown defense against the Colonels.
Yeah, very athletic ball club. Not only athletic, they have size too. They're probably going to outsize the Colonels really at every position. Maybe Thornhill might have an inch on Q Stevens out there at the guard spot, but not anything really measurable. It's a Dan River team that is quick, agile. They really hunker down and play defense in the half-court set. I think they're playing more defense this year than they have in years past, and that's a scary thing because they were always pretty good on the defensive end.
Well, I agree, and not only that, but they're well coached too. So this promises to be a good ball game.
Yeah, I mentioned Dan River 13-3 on the season. They did lose one to Radford earlier in the year, and of course, Colonel fans know Radford. That was the team Altavista beat last year in the 1A state championship. Last time out, Dan River beat Chatham 56-31. Of course, last time out for the Colonels, they knocked off the Gretna Hawks by a pretty good margin, 62-24. That was Tuesday. You heard that one live on 105.5 or perhaps at kdcountry.com. A few takeaways from that game, Oscar. Tuesday, I know you and I both mentioned it's kind of hard when you have Dan River coming up on the schedule to pull your starters and put in some of those other guys. And now Altavista did that, but you still want to play hard and you still want to get those starters a good 3 or 3.5 quarters worth of work so they can be ready for the game Friday.
Well, and Coach Carlero is exactly what he did. He put them in for that the beginning of the fourth quarter and had them. You could tell that the intensity had picked up over the third quarter. They went hard at it for about 2.5, 3 minutes, and then he started to pull them as the outcome was way earlier been decided.
Another timeout here on the Subway pregame show. We'll bring it back. We'll have the starting lineups, a little bit more analysis, and then we'll be set to go here from Dan River High School, the best place to hear high school sports on the radio. Heck, the only place to hear high school sports on the radio. You better hurry up and know that. It's 105.5 KD Country.
A short drive will save you money.
In the market for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com. A short drive will save you money. Fellers Chevrolet. In Altavista.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Virginia high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too.
Brought to you by English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
They're actually courtside down here from Dan River High School tonight. Got a pretty good view. We're in the corner again. I believe this is the north end zone that we're in here, Mr. Briggs, and we're sitting right next to the Altavista Colonel bench. Guy that I'm sitting there looking at, Demetrius Johnson, not in action tonight, but as you heard on the interview from Coach C, they are expecting him back next week. He's going to get a good full practice in Monday. He told me that he did practice Thursday. Not a whole lot of contact, though. Just wanted to break a sweat, get up and down the court, work on the shot a little bit, make sure everything was feeling good. Full workout probably Monday, and then should be good to go Tuesday. That game's at Nelson County.
And, of course, Demetrius' last action was against Dan River. He got hurt third quarter of that game, I think.
Early part of the third. Interestingly enough, he was putting together a pretty good game. He finished with 10 points and 14 rebounds in basically, 2 quarters worth of work. That's outstanding numbers.
That's a good night for a full game.
Yeah.
And we weren't certain when he went off the floor what how severe his injury was, and certainly it's turned out he's missed almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah, it was an injury that we thought maybe he'd be back in, but as the game went on further and further and we didn't see Demetrius return from back in the dressing room, we sort of figured that he wasn't going to be back, and sure enough, it was a separated shoulder, nothing too major, but it did take some time and there was some pain involved. And, again, it looks like he's pretty much going to have full range of motion back next week, and that's always a good thing. Always, again, a good thing to be on here at 105.5 and be bringing you this great high school basketball game. Can't stress enough the fact that it's so rare to have both defending state champions locking up in a basketball game, and we've had 2 of them this year. Of course, the Colonels reigning and defending back-to-back 1A state champs. Dan River got the 2A state championship last year, and these 2 teams did battle last year. And I mentioned it to Coach C, Oscar, and I'll let you get your point in here. Colonels have not beaten Colonels haven't beaten Dan River in 2 years since Thornhill and the Johnsons and Malbeck were sophomores. We'll call that the 2013 season. Haven't won down in Ringold since 2011.
Wow, and with the conference realignment, with the old district system, it'd be, you couldn't have single A, double A, whatever champions, and now look what you got. The new conference alignment, and here we are, defending state champions playing each other.
Yep, absolutely right. National anthem will be up in just a second, but we'll keep it here for right now. Interestingly enough, Mr. Briggs, I was looking at the stats from that first game between these 2 teams. Again, a 16-point Dan River win. Wildcats did not sink a single three-pointer, but it may be getting a little bit better. They hit 7 of them against Chatham Tuesday. So that's a scary thought to have a team with that much athleticism, and now they're starting to find a three-point stroke.
True point, but again, Chatham probably not as tough defensively as the Colonels are.
Excellent point, and definitely valid. The Colonels get after you on the defensive end like no other. Maybe the only team you can compare them to is these Dan River Wildcats, and that's part of the reason why it's such a great matchup here tonight. As we said, sellout crowd. We are courtside. Sit tight. Get yourself a comfortable chair and maybe a cup of joe, some popcorn. You're going to have a fun one on your hands from Ringold. We're going to step aside again for 90-second timeout for the national anthem. Bring it back with the starters, and then we're ready for the tip-off between Dan River and Altavista. Every second of the action is live on 105.5 KD Country.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905. Personal, memorable memorial moments, celebrating life and more. Pre-arrangements with confidence, trust and care from our family to yours. Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Our thanks to these members of the KD Country Sports Club.
El Cerrito and Altavista. Throw on a sombrero. Shake your maracas. It's El Cerrito time. Authentic Mexican cuisine only at El Cerrito.
Robertson Auto Sales, Lynchburg. Dealers with a passion for great quality pre-owned vehicles. We love cars and trucks, and it shows in our inventory.
Aubrey Rosser, attorney at law, going above and beyond the courtroom. Your choice for any and all legal advice. Serving Altavista, Lynchburg, and Roanoke areas.
One Stop Mart, Main Street, Altavista, where the gas is cheap, beverages are cold, and the chicken is kicking.
Mad Biddy's Antiques, 105 Wood Lane, just off of Main Street. Come find what you didn't know you were looking for.
Dairy Free, serving ice cream, yogurt, fries, hamburger, hot dogs, and fresh chili since 1961 from their Main Street location.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
National anthem concludes here from Dan River High School. Starting lineups on the way. Before we get to both ball clubs, let's tell you about our starting lineup. The First National Bank, focused on providing an extraordinary customer experience. Bug Motors, over 40 cars and trucks in stock, minutes south of the airport on Route 29. Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, your authorized train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Services, a family serving family since 1905. Feller Chevrolet, a short drive will save you money. English Building Supply, your complete home center, and Atrium Vinyl Window headquarters. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and comfortable in between. Highview Motors, GMC, from small to tall, Highview has it all. English Construction Company wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game. Of course, your live internet broadcast at kdcountry.com or with the TuneIn app is brought to you by Chris Owen, your All-State agent in Lynchburg. Basketball fans are always in good hands with Chris Owen. This is the Subway pregame show. The new grilled chicken strips are here at Subway. No artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives, all white meat premium cut chicken that is expertly prepared, lightly seasoned and grilled to perfection. The new grilled chicken strips at Subway, they taste better and they are better. Couple shout outs here, as we know we got some folks around town listening. I think the Sugar Daddy is listening. If you haven't tuned into the Honky Tonk Jukebox on a Wednesday or a Saturday at 8 p.m., do yourself a favor and listen in. The Sugar Daddy's going to play all number 2 songs this week, and it should be fun. Big shout out to our old KD Country colleague, John Liebrick. I know he's been tuning in some. He used to be our sound engineer for some of these ball games. Big O, I think we got the starters all set from both ball clubs.
First for Altavista, usual suspects, Michi Malbeck, Juan Thornhill, Donovan Montague, Darius Johnson, and Josh McClure. For Dan River, the same starters that we saw in Altavista. Number 20, Curtis Q. Stevens. Number 22, Rodney Womble. Number 23, Tremaine Edmonds. Number 33, Kasim Harris. And number 52, Quantez Terry.
The other guys on the court tonight are the officials, and it's a good group of them as well. Greg Howard, Mike Thorne, and Brad Bailey in the striped shirts tonight
and
for
that's,
the Colonel, or
and
for
that's,
the
and that's,
ball game.
And that's one of the A teams, and anytime you got that crew officiating the game, you're going to get a good game.
3 guys with the collegiate experience. They know what they got their hands on tonight. They got 2 good physical ball clubs, and they know they got a nice large crowd that is going to get behind their respective ball clubs. They're going to do their best to keep all the physical rough stuff in check. And if you remember the first game, Oscar, you haven't mentioned it yet, but it's worth pointing out, Dan River had 2 technical fouls. Altavista had 1. So it's certainly something the officials will try and keep an eye on. Darius Johnson in the squared circle there at jump circle for the Colonels. Altavista in the road, black jerseys, orange trim. Altavista written on the center, number underneath. Everybody's got the gray shoes except for Michi Malbeck going with the black. Tip-off goes to the Altavista Colonels. 7:50 left to go in the Select Air first quarter.
Dan River opens up in a man-to-man. No surprise there.
No, Dan River played mostly man in the first game, maybe all man. They've played some zone before in their history. McClure tied up at the top of the key, lost the basketball, recovered down low by, I believe, Quantez Terry. Here comes Edmonds, right wing, going to send it back to Hugh Stevens. Stevens is a well-put-together 6'1" point guard. He scored from a lot of tough angles, a lot of leaning shots, a lot of off-balance stuff in the first game. Still no score. 7:15 left to play in the first.
Altavista man-to-man. And you talk about well put together. All the athletes on this floor tonight are well put together.
Excellent point. Down low, they get it to Terry. Blocked away partially by Darius Johnson. Got his own rebound back. McClure is there with Johnson. Loose ball stripped away by Josh McClure downstairs. Nice job by Josh to get down low and battle, and it was Kasim Harris. My fault. Thornhill up and under layup, won't go on the scoop shot. That time it is rebounded by Quantez Terry. Wildcats going quickly. Q. Stevens pull up 3. Didn't hit anything. Saved in by Edmonds. And then that loose ball is recovered by Josh McClure at the 3-point line. 6:40 left to play in the first. Still no score.
Juan got to the basket on that other play and was really uncontested. I think he anticipated some contact and didn't get it and just short-armed it.
Man-to-man defense again. It's Womble guarding Thornhill. Thornhill between the circles, closer to the half-court circle. Now left wing over to Malbeck. Back and forth between Michi and Juan. 6:22 left to play in the Select Air. First quarter, still no score. Johnson steps out to the perimeter and catches one time. Now over to Michi midcourt. 1 foot in front of half court. Michi crossover dribble. Not really trying to drive, just trying to get some movement from the Dan River defense and perhaps find an opening. We're down to 6 minutes left to play. 2 minutes have already gone by and we have no score. Thornhill, right-hand dribble, circling the defense, stopped on the baseline. Top of the key to Malbeck. Malbeck stepped into a 3. Now he holds on to it. McClure has it left-hand corner. Again, Colonel's going right to left from our perspective or south to north from our perspective. Darius, low post, left side, off the rim, and no good. Rebounded by Kasim Harris. Up ahead quickly. This is Womble. Left side of the paint, throws up a shot, won't go down. Rebound is loose, out of bounds, and they're going to say, last touch off of Darius Johnson. Basketball will remain with the Wildcats. First stoppage in play.
And Colonel's being very patient on the offensive end. Dan River, a couple of possessions, have tried to force the pace of the game.
Wildcats to get it inbounds. That's Terry. Throws it to Q Stevens. Terry thinking about a right wing three. Decides otherwise. Jamari White is checked into the game for Dan River. Here's a three from Womble. Long rebound is recovered by Womble. Tracked down his own loose shot. Driving to the basket. Terry blocked away by Josh McClure. Here comes Michi Malbeck. One-on-one fast break. Right side of the hoop. Count the basket. The Colonels have scored first. Michi Malbeck with an off-balance layup. Here comes Tremaine Edmonds driving. He's fouled by Malbeck. Shot won't fall down. But I believe Tremaine Edmonds, will head to the free throw stripe. No, they won't. They'll say this is an on-the-floor foul.
And you had a 6'4", 6'5" Edmonds against a 5'8" Malbeck. Michi did a nice job in transition defense getting back.
Montague guarding Edmonds now. They inbound it to Womble. Oh, he finds White. Mid-post. Won't go down. Rebound loose and knocked out of bounds off the Colonels. Darius Johnson almost controlled it for Altavista.
The Colonels had 3 players that had boxed out, had easy access to that rebound, just slipped off Darius's hand.
Darius has good hands. That time he just couldn't bring it in. Pump fake by Edmonds on the low block. Swatted away by Darius Johnson. Look at Darius defending the rim in close right there. Nice play. Thornhill, left hand, floater, middle of the lane. Shot won't go in. Rebound is loose, being tipped around.
Josh McClure.
Yep. McClure got position, and I believe he was fouled. He's going to go to the free throw stripe to shoot 2. No official pointing on the floor again. Wow. I really thought Josh was in the act of trying to put that ball back in.
So did the other officials. But they're letting the call stand.
4:48 left to play.
They're going to talk about it, though.
They are going to talk about it. You're right. It's a 2-0 lead.
They are going to talk about it, and they're going to change his call. He's going to go to the line and shoot 2, I'll bet.
I think you're probably right. 2-0, your Altavista Colonel lead. 4:48 left to play in the Select Air first quarter. While the officials discuss it, let's discuss Select Air. Donnie and the gang will fix any electrical or mechanical problem, including ACs, heat pumps, plumbing, and more. They'll be at your house fast, usually within 45 minutes. Agent Zero, you were absolutely right. They changed the call, and I think they got it right. McClure was definitely in the process of shooting.
Nice officiating job there by that crew. Again, we knew we were going to get a good crew tonight, and they did get that call right.
Josh McClure bended to knees. This free throw off to the right. And after, no good.
And after a minute of debate, McClure doesn't cash in.
Ice the free throw shooter a little bit, perhaps. That's one thing that has changed about officiating. You know, in the past, they would just stick with the call. Now, guys are more willing to put their heads together and say, what'd you see? Did we get the call right? Free throw, back iron, no good. McClure has missed both, and the lead will stay at 2-0 for the Altavista Colonels. Starters still out there on the court for Altavista. McClure, Johnson, Malbeck, Thornhill, and Montague. This is Q Stevens in between the circles. Right hand dribble for Dan River. Not attacking the basket, just waiting. Malbeck's giving him a full 6-foot cushion. Back to Stevens after a pass. Womble, corner 3. No, that's a pump fake. Back to Stevens. 2-0, Colonels lead. 4:15 left to play. They bounce it low post to Edmonds. Edmonds back to Stevens, top of the key. 17-foot two-pointer up. No good. Rebounded by Darius Johnson at the free throw stripe. DJ's having a great game already, and we're only halfway through the first. Montague, right corner, catches. They go back left wing to Michi Malbeck. Michi's just going to tuck it under his arm and take a little bit of the air out of the ball, Oscar.
And Colonels continue to be very, very patient on the offensive end.
Yeah, it's a man-to-man defense, but the Colonels' patient really is how they would attack a zone. Lob play. Thornhill catches. Couldn't dunk. Nice little give to Darius Johnson right in front for 2. Malbeck was looking for Juan in front of the rim with the dunk. Juan caught it calmly, came down and just dished it off nicely to Darius. Jump shot good by Tremaine Edmonds from 15 feet. That gets the Wildcats on the board and gives their crowd something to cheer about. 4-2, Colonels lead. Thornhill attacking the rim, underneath pass. No, he keeps it. Back out to Malbeck. Michi, half-hearted shot fake, thrown away the pass. Edmonds stepped in front. Here comes Tremaine Edmonds. Big man, long strides to the hoop. Count the basket, and we're tied. Edmonds came in from the right side. Nice play there. 4-4 is our score with 3:10 left to play in the first.
2 Altavista defenders back, and Tremaine just slashed to the basket. Made a great little jump stop. Changed direction as he went up in the air. Nice basket by Tremaine.
Man, when you got 6'5", 250 coming at you, it's hard to get in front. Darius catches, middle of the lane, working against Edmonds. Fadeaway jumper from Darius. Side of the iron, no good. Good defense by Edmonds to get in his face, but not foul. Stevens into the front court quickly. Bounce pass to, I believe, White. Shot no good. Thornhill there on the rebound. Controls, dishes off to Michi Malbeck. Far sideline. Q Stevens is taking his shoe off down here. Malbeck will try a 3. Rebound controlled by Donovan Montague. Shovel pass to the free throw line to Johnson. Shot no good. McClure grabs the offensive board. Power move to the rim. That won't go down. This rebound knocked out of bounds. Wow.
And I like what the Colonels have been able to do in finding Darius Johnson, but let's give credit to Dan River. They're pushing him off the block by about 7 or 8 feet, and that little turnaround jump shot's a little bit deeper than he likes, and he hasn't adjusted yet.
Darius can step out to about 15 and shoot the jump shot, but I don't think it's his A game. I don't think he prefers it. He likes to be about 10 feet and in. Thornhill has the basketball near sideline, guarded tightly by Womble. Fouled, hits the deck. No, traveling call. And the official right on top of it. Juan was a little out of control there, and that's a rare thing for the deuce, Juan Thornhill.
Couldn't decide whether to penetrate or whether he's going to keep it and go to the basket. Nice call by the official.
4-4 tied up. White has it underneath. No, excuse me, that was Kasim Harris. Lost it. Nice job by Nelson Dews to get in there, and Montague ended up with the loose ball. 4-4, 2 minutes left to play in the Select Air first quarter. Nelson Dews is checked into the ball game, first substitute for the Altavista Colonels. He joins Michi Malback, Juan Thornhill, Darius Johnson, and Donovan Montague.
You might see the Colonels go 8 deep, but I expect that'll be it tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. Coach Cardolero's substitution patterns have varied a bit through the year.
Nelson Dews, Chancellor Mormon, maybe Mateo Malback. That may be it, Kyle.
May be right. Malback, walking violation at the top of the key. That'll be a turnover. Michi none too pleased about that. We're still tied. 4-4, 93 seconds left to play in the first. Darius Johnson is out for his first breather of the ball game. On the court right now for the Wildcats.
Boy, both coaches working the officials hard.
That's why they're two of the best around. Lob play to the rim is incomplete, out of bounds. Stevens was looking for Womble. I don't know that Womble was on the same page for their version of the alley-oop attempt, and it just went out of bounds off the back wall.
I think they were on the same page, but pass was just way too high.
Colonel basketball. We're tied 4-4. 1:20 left to play in the Select Air first quarter. Nelson Dews, right wing over to Josh McClure. Ball back dribbling between the legs. Now right hand off the foot of Rodney Womble. Womble dives on the ground to save it. Nice play right there with the hustle. Womble's got it back after one short pass. Jump shot was altered. Too short. Won't go in. Rebound by Jamari White. That won't go. Kasim Harris's rebound won't go. Another shot won't fall for the Wildcats. Colonel's desperately trying to clear the basketball. Still can't do it. This ball is loose all over the place.
Wow.
Going to call a foul on the Wildcats.
And I hate to see that. That ball was a loose ball situation, contested hard. Nobody could get a hold of it. Ping-ponging everywhere. And then a reach-in that somebody's hand got slapped.
Yeah,
I hate to see that call.
Kasim Harris got whistled, and you're right. I mean, there was reaching in and slapping and bodying going around all the way. It was give and take both teams. Kasim Harris just comes out on the losing end of that one. If you want the old-school Southern term, that basketball was like a greased pig out there. Nobody could grab a hold of it.
Chancellor Mormon in the game for Michi Malback.
Thornhill, middle of the lane, stop, kicks it back out. McClure going to try a pull-up 17-footer. No good. It was short. Nice rebound by the Wildcats. They're coming the other way. We're tied. 30 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Stevens right-hand dribble at the left point, guarded by Mormon. Mormon's giving him about a 5-foot cushion. Man-to-man defense by the Altavista Colonels. Stevens has 20 seconds. Looking at the defense, looking at his teammates. Maybe took one look at the clock. Left wing to Womble. Womble driving right hand to the hoop. Up and in. Dan River has their first lead of the ball game. 6-4. Nice drive by Womble. Colonels couldn't step in front and cut him off in time. Thornhill, three-pointer, too short. Going to race down his own rebound. Puts another one up with 2 seconds. That one is wide. And we have played one quarter from Ringold. It was a great quarter of basketball. Low scoring, though. Wildcats lead, 6-4 on 105.5 KD Country.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in and bring the family. See your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Friday night hoops does not get much better than this, Agent Zero. Although, like I said, low scoring, 6-4. But you can't tell me that wasn't a good first quarter.
No, if you're a fan of Phi Slamma Jamma or the old Paul Westhead teams, you wouldn't be excited about this ball game. But if you're a purist, it's great defense, a ton of athletes, patience, teams hitting the boards, a lot of hustle, very solid, very good, highly contested first quarter.
Yeah, I remember the one play, Rodney Womble over there on the far sideline, diving on the court to save that loose ball and then shoveled it off, got right back up, got the basketball back. Colonels are doing a nice job on the glass, clearing things out, boxing out. Dan Rivers had some second chance opportunities, of course. They're going to get those.
I think if you're Altavista, Coach Carter, you got to be pleased with the effort on the boards in the first half.
Yeah, I think so. Altavista doing a nice job. They get it in to Womble. Shot won't go. Hit the front of the iron. No good. Excuse me, that was Terry. Rebounded by Darius Johnson mid-court. And now the Colonels are going the other way. 6-4, they trail by 2. McClure, left-hand dribble, working to his left. Hands off to Michi. Michi moves slowly to his right. Now attacks the three-point line, backs it out. Cut pass there to Thornhill. Thornhill going to bring it into the corner. One-hand pass back to Michi, top of the key. Michi finds Donovan on the bounce. That basketball swatted away. Edmonds got his hands on the Donovan Montague shot. 6-4, Dan Rivers still leads. They're going the other way. Stevens guarded by Malbeck. Jump stop, middle of the lane, floater up, no good. Darius can't control the rebound, out of bounds, off of the Colonels. Wildcat ball with 7:20 left to play. In the second, it's a 2-point Wildcat lead.
That's the second time on this end of the floor that Darius has had his hands on a rebound and hadn't been able to hold on to it.
Inbound play coming for Dan River underneath their own scoring basket. They get it into Harris. Now three-pointer on the way from Devin Stone. That's no good. Rebound tracked down by Josh McClure along the baseline. Altavista will bring it up slowly in the hands of Juan Thornhill. Far sideline. Juan's all alone. Colonels have the left side overloaded. Juan, pull up two. Too strong. Montague chasing after the board. Tried to save it inbounds. The cheerleaders presented a little bit of a problem in doing so on the far side of the court. A little bit of bad luck there for the Colonels, although I don't know if the cheerleaders weren't there if Donovan gets to that ball anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
6-4, Wildcat lead. They've got the basketball with 6:50 left to play in the half. This is Devin Stone right in front of us, about 5 feet away, right-hand corner. Edmonds had it stripped away by Michi Malbeck. Malbeck, Thornhill. Edmonds got back and recovered. Thornhill grabs the loose ball. This ball is still loose, collected by McClure. Throws it to Montague at half court just to alleviate some of the pressure. Donnie wasn't really expecting it, but he handled it nicely.
Well, what an honor it is to see two athletes like Thornhill and Edwards on the same court. It is just incredible to watch.
No kidding. Might be seeing that on the gridiron as soon as next year. Edmonds planning on going to Virginia Tech, following his other two brothers there. Thornhill, of course, planning on attending UVA. Juan bumped at the right elbow there. This foul is on the floor. And it is going to be the third team foul on Dan Rivers. Second one on Quantez Terry. So he has 2 out of their 3 fouls. That's not a particularly pleasing situation for Dan River coach Kenny Murphy.
And Terry out and Womble back in. There's not much height difference in those two players.
No, there really isn't. Everybody from Dan River on the court right now, anyway, 6'1" or more. Thornhill ready to inbound. Referee won't give him the basketball just yet. He'll do so on the near sideline, right near midcourt, just in front of midcourt. They throw it in the backcourt to McClure. McClure just hands it off back to Juan. 6:05 left to play in the Select Air second quarter. It's a 2-point deficit for the Colonels. Juan driving, 10-footer from the edge of the lane. Good, off the window and in. Juan Thornhill, confident stroke right there on the pull-up mid-range jumper. Here comes Stevens, jump stop, in the middle, took some body contact, no whistle. Rebounded by Donovan right there in the middle of the paint. 6-6, we're tied. Michi going to try and change that. 3 ball won't go in, though. Rebound collected by Dan River, and they're going to whistle Josh McClure with the over-the-back violation.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of a quick shot for Coach Carlero's taste.
Nelson Dews, go ahead.
No, go ahead. And Josh McClure a little bit late getting to the hoop. But again, he's had a solid night on the boards already.
He has. Correction, they actually called it on Donovan Montague, although McClure will come out for a little breather. I'm with you. Folks at home couldn't see the look Oscar just gave me. We thought it was on McClure. It was on Donovan Montague instead. Oh, stripped there by Juan Thornhill. Look out below. Thornhill, the lay-in. He missed it. Oh, wow. It was contested. Juan kind of got caught in between dunk and layup. They give it off to Harris. Harris, bodies flying everywhere. Shot no good. Harris is hurt down there. Ankle doesn't look good. Colonels have the basketball. It's loose. Montague bounce pass to Darius Johnson. Baseline, left side of the paint. Won't go in on the shot attempt. Rebounded by Montague. He is smothered up by 3 Dan River defenders. Finally finds Nelson Dews, but they're going to whistle a foul Another one of those wild exchanges.
I don't know what happened with Juan. He was wide open, had plenty of space, and decided not to dunk it. Went for the layup and couldn't decide whether to use the glass or go off the front of the rim and just missed it.
Inbound play coming for the Colonels. Foul is on number 23, Tremaine Edmonds, his first. Steal at half court. This is Q Stevens. Stevens left side of the hoop and in. Another Dan River lead, 8-6. Colonels got to get it in bounds. They do so. Thornhill guarded by Stevens. Stevens will back off and give him a little bit of room to bring it up the far sideline. Juan, left side. It goes to Nelson Dews. They throw it left side of the paint to Darius Johnson. They're going to catch Tremaine Edmonds with another foul. Oh, and then him and Darius have a little extracurricular activity after the foul. Officials are going to come in and get that sorted out. 15 foul on Dan River. Second one on Tremaine Edmonds. 2 lead changes in this game already. 2 ties. Dan River with the lead, 8-6.
And Q Stevens and Michi Malbeck have had a running dialogue as well. So
Juan got to throw it long, get it in bounds. He does. Michi catches backcourt closer to Dan River's three-point line than the half-court line. 8-6. Altavista leads. Michi brings it into the front court. 1 step inside of the timeline. Donovan Montague pops top of the key, catches overhead pass to Nelson Dews, left wing. Dews looking for help. Chest pass to Michi Malbeck. Dan River defender fell down momentarily. Nelson Dews going to spot up for 3. It's good. Nelson Dews from the left wing. He's been dangerous out there all year, Oscar. Big shot. We've got another lead change. Colonels up 1, 9-8.
Boy, and Nelson's confidence continues to grow in that shot. You can see he's got a certain calmness about him. He doesn't rush it. He knocks it down.
Low post. It goes to Harris. Now Terry's going to try a 3. It's good. That's Q Stevens. My bad. And he gives a big old yell as that one goes in. 11-9. Dan River has snatched the lead back. Colonels basketball. They throw it left side of the post to Darius Johnson. Johnson with the bucket, and we are tied. What a ball game going on right here from Ringold. 11-11 is our score. 3:45 left to play in the half.
Without Edmonds in the game, Kasim Harris has drawn Darius Johnson. That's a mismatch for the Colonels. Darius can take advantage of that.
Colonels took advantage of it right there for sure. Tied up. 11-11. Snake eyes for both clubs. Malbeck guarding Q Stevens. Malbeck inside the three-point line. They throw it half court stripe, free throw line to White. Knockdown jumper there by Rodney Womble from the left wing. That was a 2-pointer. A long 2. Dan River with the lead, 13-11.
And things are heating up now
in a big way. Thornhill, right point. Going to slow things down. Left-hand dribble, taking his time. He's guarded by Womble. Womble not initiating a 5-second count just yet. Montague between the circles. Now low pass down to Darius Johnson on the left-hand block. Shot won't go in. Battling after the play there was Kasim Harris and Darius Johnson, and they're going to whistle Darius with the foul. Just bumped Kasim Harris as he was collecting the rebound.
And I think Darius thought he might have been bumped and went up for the shot, and a little bit frustrated. And when the ball came down, Darius, you can't compound the missed shot with that mistake of a foul.
Absolutely.
Especially without Demetrius. Darius has got to be careful against this taller, athletic Dan River team.
Third team foul on the Colonels. Just the first one on Darius Johnson. It comes with 2:56 left to play in the Select Air second quarter. Womble has it left wing. Womble stays on the left side for the most part. Jamari White. Shot won't go down from about 10 feet. Rebounded by Darius Johnson. DJ's going to lead the break. Now gives it off to Malbeck. Stolen away by Rodney Womble and the Wildcats. Womble bringing it up with the right hand. Stops at the free throw line. Down low to Kasim Harris. That shot won't go from point-blank range.
Josh McClure with another rebound. Tapped it over to Michi Malbeck.
And McClure and Darius did a nice job to recover and contest it. Darius walking back down in the front court. Wonder if he's injured, tired, or just frustrated.
Both.
Yeah.
All three.
Exactly. Could be some combination of the 3. Malbeck has it. Long 3 on the way. Front of the iron. No good. Long rebound controlled by Jamari White at the 3-point line for Dan River. 13-11. Wildcats lead with the basketball.
And I think with the 2 minutes left,
long 3 on the way from Dan River. No good. Nice clear out and a rebound by Darius Johnson.
With less than 2 minutes left, timeout Altavista. We'll take it with them. Listen to 105.5 KD Country.
Installing Atrium vinyl replacement windows is like an investment in your home that can begin to pay dividends right away. You can save up to 30% or more on your home's heating and cooling costs. Add to your home's equity and add to its value by upgrading its looks and energy efficiency. Custom crafted Atrium vinyl replacement windows. Invest in your home's future with English's.
English's is your complete home center.
Business 29, Altavista.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
13-11 is the Dan River Wildcat lead. We've already had 4 lead changes, 3 ties, not counting the 0-0 tie where we started, Mr. Briggs. We're under 2 minutes left in the half.
And under 2 minutes, with Dan Rivers been able to keep that lead, Tremaine Edmonds with 2 fouls, I think you'll see him on the bench for the remainder of this half.
If the Colonels could grab the lead before halftime with Edmonds on the bench, that would be a great plan of attack for the road team tonight. Thornhill controls with the right hand, lost the dribble momentarily. It could have maybe called a double dribble, but the official tells Coach Kenny Murphy from Dan River that it was bobbled around by a Dan River player. McClure, three-pointer, right corner, no good. Rebound. Oh, Montague had it, then he almost lost it. He was looking for McClure down low. Here come the Wildcats the other way. Womble taps it to himself. Finger roll to the hoop right in front. Rodney Womble with a nice play there. 15-11. He sort of tapped it over Michi Malbeck and then ran and recovered his own pass. Odd little play there, but it worked out well, and the Wildcats have a 4-point lead.
And the Colonels certainly have not taken advantage of the fact that Edmonds is not in the game.
Thornhill shovels it underneath to Michi Malbeck. Michi will bring it left side very quickly. Montague thought about a pull-up 3. He'll dribble drive instead. Going to back it out now, looking for help. Backdoor pass to Michi Malbeck. Malbeck underneath Nelson Dews. Dews fires for 3, and it's good. Nelson Dews from the right wing. He's hit twice, and the Colonels now trail by 1, 15-14. 45 seconds left to play in the quarter. Womble back up top to Devin Stone. Now they go to Jamari White. Back to Stone. 3 ball in the way. It's good. Devin Stone ripping the nylon from up top. Thornhill tried to get a hand in the face, but he was just a half second too late. Maybe not even a half second. Maybe a tenth of it. 18-14. Dan River lead. 23 seconds left. Let's see if the Colonels hold for one, or they've just looked for the first good shot they can find. Down to 18 seconds. Thornhill in the midcourt circle. Looking for direction from Coach Mike Carlero. The Colonels are going to hold for one. We're down to 10 seconds now. 18-14. Altavista trails by 4. Thornhill, right hand. Chest pass to Malbeck. Malbeck will circle the defense. Free throw line jumper is good. Knockdown shot there from 15 feet by Michi Malbeck, and that brings a close to a great half of basketball. 18-16. Dan River leads by 2. Subway halftime show on the way when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
If you're like me, life changes, and that brings up financial questions. I'm Vivian Brown of First National Bank, and we're excited to offer a new financial answer center that will help you better understand your own needs. It covers various financial topics, offers free quick guide, and if needed, access to a First National Bank employee. So go to our website at 1stnatbk.com and take a look at the new financial answer center. It's a smart resource that could help you bring home more bacon. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We're back at Bug Motors on Highway 29, 3 miles south of the Lynchburg Airport. We're talking with Joe, one of the owners at Bug Motors.
Hey, thanks, Dave. You know, here at Bug Motors, we take our customer service as our highest priority. That's why we have our ASE certified master technicians go through every vehicle before it hits the lot, making sure we can deliver our highest quality product to the public. We not only want to take care of the customer beforehand, but for the years to come as well. And remember, you can buy a car anywhere, but you can only buy us here at Bug Motors. Visit bugmotors.com for more information.
It's cold in here. Will your heating system keep you warm this winter, or will you spend a cold evening shivering under the covers? Have your heating system inspected today by Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling. Kent Tyree has over 20 years experience and specializes in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Licensed and bonded. Call for an appointment today. 309-2266. 309-2266. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
Well, after 2 fantastic quarters of basketball here from Ringold, the home team, Wildcats, lead by 2. 18-16, and led by 2 at the end of the first quarter. Business picked up a bit in that second quarter, Oscar, as both teams scoring the basketball a little bit more. But, again, knock down, drag them out type of half there for both ball clubs. The Colonels find themselves 2 points short, but I don't think they should feel too bad about where they stand right now. And I don't think they should feel too bad about the half of ball that they played.
No, I think the Colonels have done an outstanding job on the boards. They've been They've done a good job on the offensive end, controlling the pace of play and the tempo. Got to be a little bit more careful with the ball, I think. But other than that, I think if you're Coach Carlero trailing by 2, you got to feel like you've done a good job in the first half.
Yeah, I had a couple unforced errors as far as turnovers go. Those couple rebounds that Darius had, but he just couldn't pull in. And a couple close shots missed that maybe you'd normally make. But for the most part, Altavista playing pretty well. Dan River playing pretty well on the other side. Ditto for the home team, the Wildcats. And as I said, tough place to play. I mean, the last time Altavista beat the Dan River Wildcats, you got to go back to January of 2013. That was these seniors' sophomore year. And if you remember, they had an undefeated record going at that time. That kept it alive. They lost later on in the year down here in Ringold. Last time Colonels won, as I said, you got to go back to the 2011 season. It was a district championship game. It was a great ball game, back and forth all the way. The Wildcats came back from about 9 down. They had a tip-in at the buzzer. It was actually Trey Edmonds that tipped it in at the buzzer, sent it into overtime. They got in overtime. A.J. Cardellaro hit a big 3, and the Colonels really controlled the glass and won. It's interesting. I mentioned A.J. He's in the building tonight. A lot of the guys that were on that team are in the building tonight. Names like Mike Poindexter, Eric Poindexter, Delvin Woodruff. There's some others up there as well.
Stevens is in the house.
Yep.
So, a lot of players off that team are here.
They've made that drive down, and I'm sure the Wildcats have some pretty good alumni in the building as well. Maybe they should have an alumni game afterwards, and they should clear the gym and sell tickets for that, too, make a little extra money, and then put that towards the athletic department funds there. 18-16, our lead on the Subway halftime show. Remember mysubwaycard.com, too, folks. You got to register your existing card there. You get some free points for signing up, 50 free points for signing up. You get 1 point for every $1 spent thereafter. So it's a pretty good thing that Subway is doing. And mysubwaycard.com is the site. It's quick, it's easy, it's painless. And it's 2015. We're not using the old stamps like they used to, Oscar. Although that was fun, back in the day, the Subway stamps. You fill up that card. But just had to update things a little bit for the new millennium. We'll update things as well, too, after this quick timeout. Point totals and a whole lot more on the Subway halftime show when you come back. Dan River leads 18-16. You're hearing it all on 105.5 KD Country.
A short drive will save you money.
In the market for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com.
A short drive will save you money. Fellers Chevrolet in Altavista.
English Construction Company has been in the building business since 1909, so it's only natural that they appreciate the building process. They recognize the fact that organized sports programs build character as well as bodies and minds. They know that high school sports build our youth into more well-rounded and more productive adults. English Construction Company is proud to be a sponsor of high school sports and salute all athletes, coaches, and teachers. A word of praise and encouragement from English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905. Personal, memorable memorial moments, celebrating life and more. Pre-arrangements with confidence, trust and care from our family to yours. Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving family since 1905.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway halftime show finds the Colonels trailing by 2, 18-16. Low-scoring affair so far here from Ringold. Hope you got your Super Bowl plans all set up. Subway can handle that for you. The food, you would just blow your friends and your family out of the water if you get Subway to cater your Super Bowl party, or perhaps your Groundhog Day party, Oscar. I know you like Groundhog Day. It's one of the most underrated holidays, really.
Absolutely. It's an underrated movie as well.
Exactly. And also, it's a great time to celebrate all that old rock and roll music because February 2nd, also the day the music died there, the plane crash in Clear Lake, Iowa with Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens. 18-16 more closer to home here in Ringold, Virginia. Halftime scoring for both ball clubs, Mr. Briggs.
First for the Altavista Colonels, Michi Malbeck with 4, Juan Thornhill with 2, Darius Johnson with 4, Nelson Dews with those 2 big threes in the second quarter for 6. Total was 16 for the Colonels. For Dan River, Curtis Stevens with 5, Rodney Womble with 6, Tremaine Edmonds with 4, and Devin Stone with his big three-pointer for the 18 for Dan River.
McClure, Montague, and Darius Johnson are all doing a nice job on the glass for Altavista. They're boxing out well. They're controlling the boards. They're running down those loose balls on the rebounds. Wildcats rebounding well on their side. And we are so close to Danville, Oscar, we probably wouldn't be doing our due diligence as broadcasters if we didn't mention Mr. Wendell Scott going in the NASCAR Hall of Fame tonight. Of course, Wendell Scott, Danville native, first African-American to win a race on the NASCAR circuit. I think he's still the only one to win a race on the NASCAR circuit.
At that level.
At that level, exactly. And really an underrated story there, Mr. Wendell Scott. He's going in the NASCAR Hall of Fame tonight. I know some folks around the Dan River and Danville area excited about that. It'll be NASCAR season before you know it. Daytona 500 3 weeks away, something like that.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, so yeah,
that's right.
3 weeks away, and
means it's like 1 week and 6 days after Groundhog Day, right? Got to put everything into perspective for you. Let's put the first half into perspective if you joined us late. Physical, defensive struggle. Again, both teams rebounding well. Nothing is uncontested out there tonight. Let's say that. Everything is a battle. You're going to have to fight for every point that you get, as evidenced by the 18-16 score.
Yeah, and watching the body language when they come out, Juan Thornhill still upset at himself about that layup, dunk, whatever, that he didn't convert on. And I guarantee that he'll make amends here in the second half of that.
Juan's that kind of guy. He can take over in a moment's notice, in a heartbeat, in fact, and he tends to do so in big games just like this. Wildcats holding on to a 2-point lead. Remember, Dan River won the first game 56-40. But I dare use the old cliche, much closer than the score indicated in that first ball game. Colonels had the 5-point lead with about 4.5 minutes left to go. All right, what do you think? Let's try our best at some analysis here, Mr. Briggs. What adjustments could both ball clubs try and make here in the second half?
Boy, I don't know. They both played well on the defensive end. They've both done a good job on the boards. Altavista's got to do a little bit better job, I think, of getting Darius Johnson down deep on the block. They were able to push him out. The entry passes were about 6-7 feet off the block. I think that he's got to do a better job of backing back down, holding his position on the block. If you Dan River, you got to be careful for Tremaine Edmonds, who's already picked up 2 fouls. And, that could play into the Colonel's hands if they're able to get Darius down and pick up a 3rd foul early here in the 3rd quarter. That would be huge for the Colonels.
Excellent point by you. I mentioned earlier, Darius has got some range with the jump shot, but a fadeaway jumper with a 6'5" Tremaine Edmonds in your face is not exactly high percentage. So I'm with you. If they could get Darius to initiate the attack a little bit closer to the bucket, that would be beneficial, and maybe get DJ to the foul line some. Colonels haven't shot that many free throws. I'm not sure if they've shot any. I'll have to think about that.
Too.
You're exactly right. Missed both of them. Thornhill running jump shot, won't go down. Rebound collected by the Wildcats. Here comes Womble up the left side. He'll slow it down. One-hand pass, middle of the court to Q Stevens. 7:30 left to play in the Select Air 3rd quarter. It's a 2-point Colonel deficit. Stevens going to use a screen up top. Driving, lost the handle momentarily, recovered. Now left wing over to Womble. Womble right wing, back to Stevens. Down low, they're looking for Kasim Harris. Basketball went off the bottom of the backboard. Jump shot no good by Womble. Loose ball out of bounds into the Dan River bench. And it's off the Wildcats. Colonels will have it with 7:13 left to play, trailing by 2.
Nice job defensively by the Colonels on that set. Not a good shot taken by Dan River, and Colonels were able to come away with the ball.
If you can make the Wildcats turn into a jump shooting team, that's about the best game plan that you can have. That's really about the only way you can beat the Wildcats. Take away the paint, make them shoot from outside, but even sometimes they'll burn you out there. Womble's hit a couple threes tonight. Colonel basketball. Donovan Montague dribbling against Edmonds. Chest pass back towards midcourt to Michi Malbeck. Malbeck left of center now. He'll bring it midcourt They're going to screen for Thornhill away from the basketball. Juan catches at the three-point line. Couldn't do anything with it. Johnson stepping out on the perimeter left wing with it momentarily. Back to Michi. Michi running the true point guard spot tonight. Thornhill, head fake on the shot. Going to use the dribble. Right hand working slowly to his right. Now shake and bake move at the perimeter. Lost the basketball. Taken away by Kasim Harris. Right there about 10 feet away. Lob play looking for Edmonds. Edmonds off the glass and in, and he is fouled. Boy, that happened quickly. Wildcats got down in transition. It was Quantez Terry that threw the lob pass to Edmonds. Edmonds caught at the edge of the paint, off the glass with the shot and down, and he's fouled. 2016, Dan River leading now.
I'm not sure who they called the foul. Was it McClure? Again, I'm not sure. I didn't see.
They've been putting them up on the board, but they've been putting them up kind of late. Let's wait and see. Nelson Dews has checked in for Josh McClure. And Tremaine Edmonds will try and convert the old-fashioned three-point play. 20-16. Dan River leads. Big, deep knee bend there by Edmonds. Shot up, no good. Rebounded by Donovan Montague right in front of the rim. Nelson Dews, spot up three, in and out, no good. Rebound by Michi Malback underneath. Michi lost it. Oh, they're going to stay out of bounds off Michi. He doesn't agree with it. Thought Stevens got his hands on it. Nice job by Michi to get inside, a place where he doesn't get a lot of rebounds. He just couldn't hold on to it.
And that three-pointer by Dews went all but down.
Wow, yeah, I wonder how much of that basketball was beneath the equator of the rim right there. Womble, low post, throws it to Kasim Harris, and he is fouled. They're going to get Darius Johnson with an intentional foul. Darius had a hold of the jersey. I think he just got tangled up. I don't think
he was tangled up. That's an awful call. He did have a hold of his jersey, but it was unintentional for sure.
20-16.
With Dan River with a 4-point lead right here, this could be a huge turning point in this ballgame.
Well, when Josh McClure got the technical in the fourth quarter of the first game, that was a turning point. First free throw, no good by Kasim Harris. Left-handed shooter was just a little bit too short. Lead's going to stay at 4 for Dan River momentarily. Here comes the second one from Harris. That one's back iron, no good, too strong. Update from the girls' game in Altavista. Lady Colonels lead 34-12 at half over Dan River. Score courtesy of our good friend Robert Duff. Dan River's going to inbound underneath their own scoring basket after the intentional foul.
And the Colonels can come away with a defensive stop here. It'll be a huge stop.
It would be big. Good ball movement by Dan River. They got it in all 5 Wildcats' hands. Now they'll slow it down a little bit, and Curtis Stevens will take the air out. Cross court, right point, it goes to Womble. Stevens going to try a long three. No good. Good box out again by the Colonels. They had 3 black jerseys there. Thornhill comes away with the board. Juan to the free throw line. Stops. Right wing. Malback for 3. No good. Rebound is loose. Controlled by Terry. Terry going the other way quickly, trying to outrace the defense. Oh, out of bounds off Quantez Terry.
Terry didn't have much opportunity. He was about half a step in front of Thornhill. Had Dews closing on the ball side. If he'd have gone up for that shot, it was going to end up somewhere bad.
Terry was out in front. It was a 1-on-0, but he didn't have much of an advantage. Michi to the hoop. Layup, the ball. Michi Malback with a left-hand layup right there from the left side. And Michi with a great finish. Took some contact, headed to the free throw line to shoot for the old-fashioned three-point play. First foul on number 20, Curtis Stevens.
And McClure back into the game for Nelson Dews.
20-18. Colonels can cut the lead to 1 on a made free throw.
Nelson Dews is taking a blow to the mouth. Got a little blood.
Thornhill and Montague on the outside of the paint for Altavista. Free throw up and good by Michi Malback. Good stroke right there by the senior. Number 1, 20-19. Altavista trails by 1. Let's see how the Wildcats respond. Harris down low to Womble. Womble didn't come to the ground before he passed it away to Tremaine Edmonds. It's back in Quantez Terry's hands. Right point now, Q Stevens will facilitate the offense.
Donovan Montague doing a good job of keeping Tremaine Edmonds off the block.
Montague playing his most minutes of the year so far. He had 14 Tuesday night against Gretna, but I dare say this has been his best defensive and rebounding performance so far. Dan River leads by 1. Their basketball. Womble, pull up 3, no good. Controlled by Juan Thornhill. Hugs the basketball to protect it from Dan River. Juan bringing up the right sideline. Headed to the rack. Up and under layup. Won't go down. Rebound stuck back in by Donovan Montague. Colonels have the lead. Our 5th lead change of the night. They're up 1. 21-20. 4.5 left to play in the third. What a play by Montague. Mentioned Tuesday. Oh, and here's a steal by Michi Malback out in midcourt. Michi left side of the paint. That'll go down. Michi Malback with the bucket off the steal. Colonels full court man-to-man pressure. Now they'll break it just a little bit. 23-20. Altavista up 3. Biggest lead of the night so far for the Colonels.
Boy, Michi was outside. He had to actually turn his back and was able, almost like a reverse layup. What a shot by Michi Malbeck.
Excellent play by the senior. We're halfway through the third quarter. Stevens, pull-up, jump shot, way too strong. Malbeck collects the rebound, far sideline. Here comes Michi all alone, right side of the paint. Foul. Shot won't go down, but Michi headed back to the free throw stripe to shoot a pair after the foul there. 23-20, Colonels lead.
7-0 run by the Colonels, and it's all been off the boards and defensively. That's what started this little 7-0 run.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say before Michi made that steal, Donovan Montague, right place, right time. He did that Tuesday night. He does it again here tonight. You can see he's a little winded. Hands on the knees over there on the outside of the paint. Malbeck toes the free throw stripe. First one up, first one nothing but net. Colonels lead by 4. Again, biggest lead of the night.
Michi was 6 1/4.
Malbeck, I have always said, rises to the occasion. He's a big game kind of a player. Sometimes he doesn't get interested until the stakes get a little bit higher. Maybe he's like a riverboat gambler type of guy. Second one in for Malbeck.
It was right on this floor 2 years ago where in this very ball game, Coach Carlero pulled him off the floor early in the ball game, benched him, and that was the turning point for Michi Malbeck.
It really was. Michi played great in the playoffs thereafter and was a big reason why the Colonels won that first state championship. 25-20, Altavista leads. Dan River basketball with 3:30 left to play. Stevens in trouble, guarded tightly by Malbeck. He'll hand it off to Womble. Womble going to circle the defense to the right. They get it to Edmonds, left wing. Edmonds jump stop down low looking for a teammate. That's Terry. Terry is fouled. He will go to the free throw line. Shot never even got up to the rim. Coach Carnelero substituting fast and furious. You see, when guys come out for a break, they don't spend long on the bench.
Well, I think he wanted to give Donovan a little bit more of a break than he did, but that was Josh McClure's second foul, and I think you'll see Donovan go in for Josh.
Terry, free throw, no good. Wildcats have not been good from the free throw stripe tonight. That was sort of their nemesis in years gone by. Last year, they were a lot better from the charity line. They were 16 for 26 at Altavista in the first game this year. But you remember, Oscar, Dan River made a lot of free throws down the stretch to help ice the game away. Colonels lead by 5, 25-20. 3:35 left to go in the Select Air third quarter.
Coach, the officiating crew getting on Carlero for being out of the box.
Second free throw up by Terry off the back iron, and it does fall down. Good shooter's roll there. Cuts the deficit to 4. Altavista up 25-21. Thornhill hands off to Malbeck. Malbeck middle of the court looking over the defense. Fakes to his right. Now he'll bring it back out right point. He's about 5 feet away from the sideline and 5 feet away from the half-court stripe. Now Michi, middle of the paint. Shot blocked away. Good job closing in there by Rodney Womble to take the layup attempt away. 25-20. Colonels up 4. Stevens jump shot. Rattles home. Good job by Q. Stevens. Pull up Jay from about 16 feet. Goes down. Wildcats only trail by 2 now. Thornhill, head fake, hesitation move at the top of the key. Gives it up to Nelson Dews instead. Back to Juan, left wing. Nelson going to screen for Juan. Now Coach Cartolero wants to take a timeout. We'll take it with him. Altavista up 2, 25-23. 2:43 left to play in the third quarter on 105.5 KD Country.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in. Bring the family and see your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
25-23. Colonels lead by 2. The lead was as much as 5 just moments ago, but Wildcats are never going to go away quickly, Mr. Briggs. This is Friday night hoops at its finest right here down in Ringold.
Yeah, this is, we talked about it. It wasn't, if you're a basketball purist, you would enjoy it. You really would. It continues to be a high-level basketball game, highly contested, great defense, hard-hitting boards. This has been a fun one.
We advertised that it would be a pretty good ball game, and I think it's living up to the billing here tonight. I'm having a hard time believing this sellout crowd is been able to remain seated all night. I think they want to be on their feet some for this.
And it's been relatively quiet, too. And if the Colonels can keep the crowd out of the game, that certainly behooves them.
You're right. If you can keep that six-man limited for Dan River, definitely gives you a chance to win on the road here at Dan River High School. Colonels get it inbounds after the timeout. Thornhill running the offense, double team momentarily. Now right wing to Nelson Dews. Dews driving to the hoop. Shot blocked away. Couldn't get his own rebound. Edmonds comes down with it for Dan River. He runs the floor quickly. Up ahead to Terry. Terry fouled by Donovan Montague. Shot wouldn't go in, but Quantez Terry headed back to the free throw stripe.
And I like the foul. Excuse me. I like the foul by Donovan. Terry was going to the hoop hard. Was going to get it too. Was at the free throw line earlier, and he's, I think, 1 for 3 tonight.
Second personal foul on Donovan Montague. Fourth one on the Colonels as a team. Free throw does not go in for Quantez Terry. Darius Johnson checking in the ball game for McClure. He joins Donovan Montague, Nelson Dews, Juan Thornhill, and Michi Malback. Out there for Dan River, it's Quantez Terry at the free throw line. He has Edmonds, Womble, Harris, and Stevens with him. Free throw no good. Rebounded by Darius Johnson. Colonels really cleared the lane nicely again that time. Thornhill to the free throw line. Chest pass back out to Nelson Dews. Donnie holds it over his head. Had it stolen away by Kasim Harris. Harris with the quick hands there. Just batted the Donovan Montague pass away into his own hands. 25-23. Dan River trails by 2. Stevens to the free throw line. Guarded tightly by Thornhill. Send it in the corner to Womble. Womble, long football pass over to Tremaine Edmonds, and Edmonds had to sky high to keep it from going out of bounds.
Boy, write this down. Colonel's in a zone?
Now they're just sagging off on that man-to-man. I don't think they're in a zone. Free ball up. No good. Darius Johnson with the rebound right underneath the basket. I'll tell you, though, to your credit, Oscar, they're sagging off, and it really has the appearance of a zone, well, for sure.
I watched Donovan Montague, and he was guarding
Thornhill for 3. It's good. Juan Thornhill, his first three-pointer of the year, could not come at a better time. 28-23. Stevens cut off. Dishes mid-post to Edmonds. Edmonds' shot won't go. Rebound controlled by Harris. Blocked away by Darius Johnson.
Wow.
Ball is still loose now out of bounds. It's going to stay with Dan River. Wow is right. Hard-nosed basketball down there on the far end by both ball clubs.
A lot of contact, but I like the officiating job, but not calling fouls in that situation.
And no advantage gained, right? That's your old saying, and I think it's true here tonight. Inbound, batted away by Thornhill and controlled by Nelson Dews. Malback, right side of the paint. Takes some contact. Scoop layup won't go. Rebounded by Rodney Womble at the three-point line. Dan River going the other way quickly. 1:13 left to play. Colonels up 5. 1:13 in the third. Harris with the bucket. From 6 feet, the left-handed shooting Harris was fouled, and he will go to the free throw line. Let me say it again. 1:09 left to play in the third quarter. 28-25. Colonel's lead has been trimmed again.
And Harris caught that ball and shot it in the same motion. What a play.
Nice job by Kasim Harris. Free throw up, in and out. That one will fall down. Altavista's lead has been trimmed back to 2. It's been as much as 5 twice. If you joined us late, Colonels trailed by 2 at the end of the first and at the end of halftime. Thornhill working off the dribble at the three-point line. Can't go anywhere. Good defense from Womble. Top of the key, it goes to Donovan Montague. Darius working in the high post. Malback controls. No dribble yet from the left point. We're under 1 minute to play. 45 seconds, in fact, in the Select Air third quarter. Michi controls. Brings it dangerously close to that half-court stripe. He's mere inches away. High ball screen from Nelson Dews. Michi opts not really to use it. We're down to 33 seconds.
I think at this point they're going to they'll hold it for 1 unless they can get a really good shot.
Absolutely right. Looks like a 1-4 set. Thornhill, the one guard. Dishes to Johnson. Down low, swatted away. Tremaine Edmonds saying something there to Darius Johnson about that block. 28-26. Colonels will retain possession.
Nice job of officiating there by Foreign, who stepped in and immediately said, that's enough, guys.
Inbound play coming for the Colonels, left side of their own scoring bucket. Montague didn't have the inbound play straight. Clock hadn't started yet. Now something on the Altavista Colonels. Referee pointing at their bench. Scores table going over there. I think he's warning Coach Cardalero about staying in the coach's box. No technical foul issued or anything like that, but the official did go over.
Look at the Dan River. The Dan River coach is out at midcourt.
Exactly. Hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, or something like that. Colonels, 18 seconds left. They get it in. 18 seconds in the third quarter. Backdoor cut by Thornhill. He's going to the baseline. Cut off by Harrison. Throws it midcourt to Malback. Malback steps into a 3. It's good. Michi Malback for 3. Colonels lead 31-26. Dan River with 3 seconds in the quarter. Stevens going to get off a desperation three at the end. Wow, good! The buzzer beater by Stevens. We have played 3 quarters from Dan River. Colonels lead by 2. What a ball game. You do not want to miss the 4th quarter on 105.5 KD Country.
Installing Atrium vinyl replacement windows is like an investment in your home that can begin to pay dividends right away. You can save up to 30% or more on your home's heating and cooling costs. Add to your home's equity and add to its value by upgrading its looks and energy efficiency. Custom crafted Atrium vinyl replacement windows. Invest in your home's future with English's.
English's is your complete home center.
Business 29 Altavista.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
31-29 after 3 very exciting quarters of basketball here from Ringold. The Altavista Colonels lead by 2. The fans are starting to get into it now, Mr. Briggs. The coaches have been getting into it all game. Both coaches have been mentioned about staying in their respective coaches' boxes. That's the area in between the scorer's table and the bench. They give you about 5 feet to work with, but let's face it, if you've ever seen basketball, no coach stays in that coach's box.
No, and big quarter by the Colonels there. They outscore Dan River after trailing at the half by 2, outscore them 15-11 there, excuse me. Led by Michi Malbeck's 10.
Michi Malbeck, what a quarter. Capped it off by stepping into that final 3-pointer there at the end of the quarter, or so we thought was the end of the quarter. Dan River raced it down, had about 4 seconds to get it inbounds. They did so. Stevens got it up and got a pretty good look from about NBA range three, right. 24 feet, 25 feet.
It was certainly NBA range, and we had the good angle on it. When it left, it looked good.
Colonels up 2. Let's see what kind of performance both these ball clubs can put together in the fourth. Edmonds, mid-paint shot won't go down. Follow-up will go down. Fist pump from Tremaine Edmonds. We are tied 31-31.
And he hit
tie of the game.
He hit that falling to the floor.
Edmonds is an athlete, make no mistake about it. Bounce pass, right post to Darius Johnson. He's getting banged around down there by Edmonds, and Harris lost the basketball out of bounds off Harris's knee. Girls will inbound left side of their own scoring bucket here with 7:30 left to go in the Select Air 4th quarter. Thornhill will do the honors on the inbound play. He's joined by Dews, Michi Malbeck, Donovan Montague, and Darius Johnson. Juan telling guys to move. Finally gets it into Nelson Dews in the corner right in front of us. Timeout called by Mike Carlero. He sensed his team might be losing the basketball. Decides to burn the timeout. We'll use it with him. Tie ball game here from Dan River. 31-31, 7.5 left in regulation on 105.5 KD Country.
For more than 103 years, we've offered special banking assistance to many nonprofit organizations. I'm Kathy Morgan with First National Bank, and we have a checking account just for nonprofits and faith-based organizations that has no minimum balance requirement and no monthly maintenance fee. We also specialize in offering financing when your group needs a loan. So come see us at First National Bank, and we'll provide your organization with an extraordinary customer experience. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
31-31, all knotted up here from Dan River High School. I'm Kyle Haney. He is Agent Zero, Oscar Briggs. So glad that we have the privilege of bringing you this basketball game here. Oscar.
Boy, Colonels had to take that timeout. They were trapped here, game tied, trapped over in this corner. 2 Altavista players with the ball, and trapped by the Dan River defense.
Yep.
Thornhill do get it in.
Yep, right there in front of us, a mere 5 feet away. Thornhill bounces it to Darius Johnson. Now Darius just hands it back off to Juan Thornhill. Juan's going to reset the offense. Donovan pops out left side to catch the chest pass. Holds it over his head. 7:15 left to play in the ball game. Oh, Michi lost the basketball at midcourt. Fouls number 32, Devin Stone, going the other way. Michi just got tangled up. He put his foot right on the back of Devin Stone's foot. Not intentional.
That's a 17. Should be the 17th foul.
Sports showing 6. I'm waiting to see. I thought you might be right, but
apparently that is a 16 foul.
16 fouls. Altavista has committed 6. Dan River has committed 2. Second one on Michi Malbeck.
And if he just walked. But anyway, if you're Altavista, I don't think you mind them getting in the bonus.
Maybe not. Wildcats have not been good on the free throw line in this ball game. 31-31, we're tied. Stevens, pull-up three from the right side, no good. Rebounded by Womble. Never hit any rim. Womble was right there to catch it. Womble will pull up for a jump shot, no good. There's a rebound by Darius Johnson on the left block. Thornhill is fouled by Rodney Womble. Another one of those classic frustration fouls. Womble trying to get the ball back after the missed shot.
And that's only the third team foul on Dan River.
31-31. We're all tied. McClure comes in for Nelson Dews. On the court right now for the Colonels in the black road jerseys. It's Josh McClure, Donovan Montague, Darius Johnson, Michi Malbeck, and Juan Thornhill. They're double-teaming Thornhill on the inbounds play there. McClure had to pop free. Malbeck got it to him, and then Josh right back to Michi in the backcourt. Michi just does now break the timeline. Chest pass 5 feet away to Thornhill.
And Dan Rivers done a good job of switching Womble and Q Stevens up on Michi and Juan.
Great point. Defensive game plan from Dan River has been solid. Ball back to the free throw line. Chest pass left wing. It goes to Montague. Montague left block to Darius Johnson. Johnson harassed down low by 4 Wildcats. Count them, 4 white jerseys converging there. Foul on Rodney Womble. Oh, no, they got it on number 32, Devin Stone. 4th team foul on Dan River. This is on the floor. It's Devin Stone's first foul.
Darius was lucky then. Nice feed in, but they double-teamed him immediately and actually had a third player come over. He was surrounded. Colonels were lucky on that play.
The double became a triple team and then a quadruple team finally with 4 white jerseys. Altavista gets it inbounds. Nelson Dews back in the ball game for Darius Johnson. McClure here, left point, looking for help. Picks up his dribble, hands it off to Michi Malbeck. Michi between the circles. Right wing now, chest pass to Nelson Dews. 6 minutes left to play in the ball game. We're tied, 31-31. Thornhill, free throw line jumper, won't go down. Great board by Montague. Had the shot attempt blocked away, though. Still tied. Here comes Stevens the other way, weaving in and out of traffic. Off-balance layup, won't go. Collected by Montague. It was blocked away by Josh McClure. Stevens is still down on the court on the other end. He is laying on his back down there, and it's 5-on-4 for Altavista right now. Malbeck, pass, spotted into the stands. Edmonds got his hands on it. Stevens is going to now try and get up and walk it off, but he does not look to be in good shape right now. He's still on the court. I believe Coach Kenny Murphy is going to get him a substitute now.
Yeah, Q Stevens is going to come out of the game, but I promise you hadn't seen the last of Q Stevens. He's as tough a kid, as good an athlete as you're going to see. Looks like he might have banged his head.
Yeah, very possible. Malbeck's going to inbound on the far sideline. No, Coach Kenny Murphy for Dan River wants to take a timeout. Full timeout. We'll take it with him. 31-31. We're all tied from Ringold. 5:34 left to play on 105.5 KD Country.
It's cold in here. Will your heating system keep you warm this winter, or will you spend a cold evening shivering under the covers? Have your heating system inspected today by Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling. Kent Tyree has over 20 years experience and specializes in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Licensed and bonded. Call for an appointment today. 309-2266. 309-2266. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling.
We're back at Bug Motors on Highway 29, 3 miles south of the Lynchburg Airport. We're talking with Joe, one of the owners at Bug Motors.
Hey, thanks, Dave. You know, here at Bug Motors, we take our customer service as our highest priority. That's why we have our ASE certified master technicians go through every vehicle before it hits the lot, making sure we can deliver our highest quality product to the public. We not only want to take care of the customer beforehand, but for the years to come as well. And remember, you can buy a car anywhere, but you can only buy us here at Bug Motors. Visit bugmotors.com for more information.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
All tied up 31-31 between Dan River and Altavista. Oscar, why do I have the feeling like this is going to turn into one of those football games where the team that has the ball last is going to be the one that wins?
Well, it very well could. And boy, what a defensive battle it's been.
Great defensive battle, great rebounding. I mean, when every shot goes up, it is a treat to watch these teams battle after it. Big playmakers from both teams making big plays. And we're tied 31-31. Malbeck. Right side with the dribble. Close to that right sideline. Now middle of the court to McClure. Back to Michi Malbeck. Darius Johnson and Edmonds battling down low. This foul is not on those two guys. It's on number 22, Rodney Womble. Too many hands on Juan Thornhill there as Juan caught the pass at the three-point line. Tied up, 31-31. Second one on Rodney Womble. Fifth one on Dan River as a team. 5:17 left to play in the Select Air fourth quarter.
And looks like Coach Carlero is only going to go rotate those 6 players here this last quarter.
Looks like that's the way the rotation is shaping up for the Colonels lineup. Thornhill, crossover dribble, slowly moving to his right. Now he's headed right side of the paint. Oh, tried to put up the layup, but was harassed there on the right side. No whistle, though. Officials have been letting him play. Montague has it left corner, throws a chest pass into Darius Johnson. Now some pushing and shoving again after the play. Teammates get in there to separate a couple guys, along with the officials. Foul is on Dan River. I believe it's on number 32, Devin Stone.
And I see one of the things that you're seeing with Juan is Juan's used to getting by the initial defender and having, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3 kids, or 6'1", 6'2 for sure. Now when he's getting through, he's running into 6'4", 6'5 kids with 6'7 arm strength.
Excellent point. That's what Dan River's size can do to you. Malback looking for somebody to get an inbound to. Throws it long to Juan Thornhill in the backcourt. Juan will bring it into the front court again. We're tied 31-31. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left to play in the ball game. In regulation, that is. Johnson and Harris working down low now. It's Malback on the dribble. Free throw line, pull-up, jump shot. Won't go down. Rebounded by Tremaine Edmonds right in front of the hoop. Here comes Dan River coming up near sideline. This is Ian Cully in the ball game for the first time. Harris gets it to go. A leaner on the inside. Off-balance shot with one hand. Dan River has the lead back. 33-31. 6th lead change of the night. Colonels trail by 2. 4:20 left to play in the ball game. Malback driving. And that was Ian Cully right on his hip the whole time. The official had to call it as Malback couldn't get by. 1-and-1 situation now for Michi Malback and the Altavista Colonels.
Next foul for Altavista will put Dan River at the line as well. So
Colonels haven't fouled in a while. The fourth quarter is nearly halfway done. That's the Select Air fourth quarter. Malback toes the free throw line. He's been perfect from that charity stripe so far in this game. That one rattles home, hit the front iron, and fell down. And remember, Select Air for repairs and new installations, too. Select Air Mechanical and Electrical does it all with prompt and courteous service. 1-point ball game now. Michi can tie it up again. Officials talking to some fans over there, some spectators along the baseline. I don't know if he wants them to have room or he wants them to be quiet.
That's the Altavista JV team, and I don't know what's going on over there.
Hard to know here from our perspective. Free throw up by Malback is good. Can't ice Michi Malback. We're tied 33-33. 4:15 left to play in the Select Air fourth quarter. Cully now middle of the court. Goes back to Devin Stone. Cully has it, holds it over his head. Boy, you're right. That Colonel's defense looks an awful lot like a zone, but I don't know. I'm going to have remind me to ask Coach Carlero about that in the next interview.
Watch if they swing hard.
It looks an awful lot like a 2-3 zone. You're absolutely right. It's a tie ball game, 33-33. Dan River taking their time, passing around the perimeter. Maybe they're confused by Altavista's defense.
I think it's certainly in the years that I've been watching Coach Carlero, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Well, he uses a lot of zone principles. He said that on the Subway pregame show. They sag off, they help out, they control areas.
I agree.
But you do have a defined man. Johnson down low. Excuse me, that was Johnson playing defense. They throw it into Kasim Harris. I think they're going to whistle Donovan Montague.
They are.
With the foul on the baseline there. And this will put Dan River in the bonus. 1-on-1 situation as the Wildcats will go to the free throw line with 3:28 left to play in the ballgame.
That's Donovan's third.
It is Donovan's third, and that's something to keep an eye on because Montague has played some seriously valuable minutes tonight. You wouldn't like to lose him. Wouldn't like to lose anybody at this point, and that statement goes for both ball clubs, really. As Dan River hadn't gone that deep either, Oscar. They played about 7 or 8 guys at most. Free throw, no good. Rebound in the middle of the lane by Tremaine Edmonds. We're tied 33-33. 3:20 left to play in the Select Air fourth quarter. Cully has it in between the circles. Going to move slowly to his left. Now left wing. He gets it to Devin Stone. Stone and Cully just playing pitch and catch back and forth. Maybe trying to diagnose that odd-looking Colonel defense. Certainly slowed down Dan River a bit.
Q Stevens back in the game.
Shot up by Dan River. No good. 3 ball was a little too long. Harris tries to save it. He does. Edmonds has it. Collects it. Off the window and in. Dan River with the lead. 35-33.
And that's the disadvantage of a zone is that the rebound assignments can get a little bit muddled.
Thornhill fouled about 10 feet away, middle of the lane, or did they signal that against Altavista? Officials are going to talk it over. Let's see. Yep, they called that on Michi Malbach. Illegal screen. You can probably hear that big cheer from the Dan River fans. Altavista fans cannot believe it. Coach Mike Cardellaro wants to take a timeout as soon as he can get it. We'll take it with him. Our score, 35-33. Altavista trailing by 2. We get 2:41 left to play in regulation on 105.5 KD Country.
A short drive will save you money.
In the market for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com.
A short drive will save you money. Feller Chevrolet in Altavista.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
35-33. Dan River up 2 at home at Dan River High School. Altavista took the time out there. Mr. Briggs. Coach Cardellaro obviously did not like the call on the, I guess it was a moving screen against Michi Malbach. Hard to see because simultaneously Juan Thornhill was getting tied up in the lane there. I think all eyes were on that. So hard to say if that was the right call or not.
Well,
Coach C couldn't believe it.
I certainly like the timeout call. Number one, Michi Malbach is still having some dialogue with Mike Thorne about what happened. And I guess it's a player control foul.
Yeah, it's going to be Dan River basketball. They'll inbound in the backcourt. No shots in the bonus there. Altavista has committed 8 team fouls. Colonels are down to 1 timeout. We've got 2.5 left to play here from Dan River. Wildcats basketball in the front court. Curtis Stevens is back in the game, so you were right about that, Oscar. We have not seen the last of Q Stevens. Driving left hand, left side. He is fouled. He will go to the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1.
And Q Stevens is not the one you want to foul. That's Mike Michi Malbach's fourth. You don't want to see that either.
Not good news there for the Altavista Colonels. Still a 2-point game, though, 35-33. Stevens kind of rubbing his left hamstring there. Maybe that's what he was hurt. Maybe that's what hurt earlier. 2:20 left to play. Stevens taking a long time. Very deliberate from the free throw line. Shot up, shot good. It's a 3-point lead now for Dan River. Colonels led by as much as 5 a couple times in this game, both of them in the third quarter. They trailed at halftime by 2. And it's been back and forth all night. No team has led by more than 5. 36-33. Stevens, second free throw up. It's good. Nothing but net. Good job there. They handled the here from Dan River High School. Minor technical hiccup. You didn't miss much. Wildcats still lead by 2, 37-35. Ian Cully on the free throw stripe to shoot 2 for Dan River. 1:52 left to play in regulation. Free throw up and good. Makes it a 3-point lead for the Wildcats now, 38-35.
Coach Carlero running with Michi with 4 fouls is running the offense-defense pattern here, pulling Michi off when they're on the defensive side of the ball.
Smart strategy if you can get away with it. Only problem is sometimes your scorer will get stuck on the bench sometimes. 38-35, Dan River leading by 3. Ian Cully stepping to the free throw line for the second one. On the court right now for Altavista, Michi Malback, Juan Thornhill, Donovan Montague, Darius Johnson, and Nelson Dews. Free throw up and good. That gives it a 4-point lead for Dan River. Thornhill going to get it in the front court quickly. Nearly fell down, had one knee on the ground, maintained his dribble. Malback catches, looks over the defense momentarily. Crossover dribble, looking for some space. Lost the ball. Nelson Dews picks up the loose ball. Final timeout going to be used by Coach Mike Carlero. Oscar, we had to step away there for the technical difficulties. So let's keep it right here for right now. 1:38 left to play in regulation. Colonels trailed by 4. Wow. Third quarter, Altavista was up by 5 a couple times. We knew the Wildcats were not going to go away quickly, and here we are. It's a Dan River lead right now, 39-35.
Yeah, while we were away, Michi Malback did knock down 2 free throws, and again, he has picked up his 4th foul. As you alluded to, 1:38 remaining here. Colonels trailing by 4. Coach Carlo didn't like the way that offensive set was going. He did utilize his last timeout. Dan River still with 4, so advantage Dan River when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Coach Carlero said timeouts are going to be important. I'm sorry. Got to ration them out. Got to use them wisely. But you can't take any of them home with you either. And I know Coach C would love to have one down the stretch for maybe a last-second kind of play, but you never know when the possession is going to be important. Heck, at this point, they're all important. 39-35. Colonels trail by 4. Don't have to have a 3 here. And really, you don't have to have a bucket here, but if you don't score here, you have to get a stop. Absolutely. You can't afford a Dan River score again. Dan River goes up 6. This ball game's probably over.
And Dan River also in the double bonus here, so they'll be shooting 2 from here in. They've only committed 8 fouls, so 2 more fouls or 1 more foul for them. 2 more fouls before Altavista gets into the double bonus.
Malback gets it inbound near sideline to Michi Malback at half court. Thornhill has it back. Back in the hands of number 1, Michi Malback. Michi going to step into a 3 ball. Too short. Rebound is loose. Staved in by Kasim Harris. Tremaine Edmonds has it. He throws it near sideline to Ian Cully. Long baseball pass in the front court. They find Rodney Womble. Womble up ahead to Harris. Swatted away by Donovan Montague, but they're going to whistle Donnie with the foul. And Donovan had to foul him, really. I mean, he got him with the arm. And again, 4th foul on Donovan Montague. And another injury down there. This time it's Rodney Womble on the deck, hurt. Think he's going to be okay. He's just stretching him out right now. 2 shots here for Kasim Harris coming up after we get the injury situation
That's
straight.
Donovan's 4th foul, but I like the play because that wasn't going to be an easy 2 points. And Harris hasn't been good from the free throw line. He's thrown up a couple of bricks.
Yeah, you have to protect the rim there. I mean, you have to go up strong and either try and swat it away or commit the foul. That was the right play. That is Rodney Womble, and they're actually helping him off now. So the injury may be a little bit worse than I suspected just at first there. That's not good news for the Wildcats. Kasim Harris, left-handed shooter, wide stance there at the free throw line, doesn't have the basketball yet. We've got 1:15 left to play in regulation. It's a 4-point Dan River lead. Harris, another deliberate shooter for Dan River. That one's up and good. Wildcats did this at Altavista. They were very good down the stretch from the free throw line. They're up 5 now. Second one on the way for Harris. Colonel's really got a box out on a missed free throw. It's up. It's good. Nothing but net.
He's thrown up rocks all night, and then pressure time, he knocks them down.
Made them when they counted. Colonels, they trail by 6. Really got to hurry now. Thornhill, head fake to the hoop. Kicks it back out right wing to Michi Malback. Malback, return pass 5 feet there to Juan Thornhill. 41-35. Colonels trail by 6. Thornhill, spot up 3. No good. Saved in by Montague. Thornhill tracked it down, but he committed a foul in the process. Juan raced after it right there at the left wing 3-point line, but he ran over Ian Cully to do it. Crowd from Dan River really getting vocal now and on their feet. The administration And the law enforcement here has had to remove a couple fans as this game has gone by.
And nothing, Juan was tough going after it. And they got to the ball about the same time. Juan got his hands and just turned his hip. Nice play, but you're going to get that foul called on you 9 times out of 10.
Yep. This is Ian Cully at the free throw line for Dan River to try and extend their lead. They're up 6 now. Deep bend at the knees. Another deliberate free throw shooter. Takes a long time at the free throw stripe. It's good. Just barely nicked the back iron and went down. Boy, Dan River has been solid from the free throw line in the fourth quarter. They were not that good in the first 3 quarters, but they have been very good here. Second one on the way from Ian Cully. It's good as well. Dan River can't miss now from the free throw line. Colonels trail by 8. They got to go in a hurry. We're down to 50 seconds left in regulation. Thornhill, left wing, driving to the hoop. Stop, fell down, lost his traction down there. Jump ball. He is tied up. And let's see who the possession arrow favors. It favors Altavista. A little bit of pandemonium in the gym here as the cheering sections are sort of yelling at each other. I think they've lost a little bit of their attention towards the game.
Somebody's getting ejected again.
Yeah. They've had to ask a couple of fans to knock it off. They have removed fans. And like I said, now the fans are coming out of their seats, and the officials are having to control the court here and say, hey, stay off the court. This is not an easy job for a referee, not an easy job for a player, not an easy job for a broadcaster for that matter. Coach Cardellaro is going to pull the 5 that were out there off the court. Right now it's a fresh group for Altavista. They trail by 8 with 45 seconds left. And it's Chancellor Mormon, Mateo Malbeck, Jordan Witcher, Lawrence Galliard, and Josh McClure on the court for the Colonels right now. And the officials are talking things over with both coaches. And I have a feeling perhaps part of the conversation is do what you can to keep things under control. But I think Kenny Murphy and Mike Cardellaro are saying, hey, it's not our fault. We can't control the fans. Michi Malbeck, that is, will come back in the game. He's talking to his brother Mateo right now. I think everybody's sort of trying to figure out what's going on. It's an 8-point Dan River lead. 45 seconds left to play.
Looks like it might be a double technical or something called. I don't know.
I think you're right. Michi Malbeck is about to toe the free throw line and shoot free throws. Nobody is around him. I think you're right. I think they've called a double technical. No clear signal was given by the officials. Malbeck misses the first.
There are people walking across the floor. I mean,
yeah.
This is
it's a strange scene here from Dan River. It is a very strange scene. And again, it's not easy on the administration either to clear the court. Malbeck's going to try the second free throw now. It's up. Front iron. No good. You can tell his concentration was a bit rattled.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Altavista basketball, though, so I guess the technical foul was just assessed on Dan River.
How can you not be rattled? You're at the free throw line, and you got somebody walking almost near the block of the free throw line.
It's interesting because they clear out all the players, but they don't clear out all the fans, right? Montague, head fakes at 3. It's Altavista basketball. Pull-up jumper. Monty hangs. Rebound controlled by Nelson Dews. No, he tried to scamper after it. They're going to say last touch off of Nelson Dews. Colonels have had some bad breaks there on some of those loose balls where they just can't control it. Dan River basketball trying to get it in bounds. Let's see if the Colonels foul here intentionally. We got 30 seconds left to play. It's an 8-point Dan River lead. Altavista not fouling right now. That time they do commit the foul. It wasn't intentionally. Nietzsche and Thornhill were double teaming Curtis Stevens, and Stevens hit the deck. Call was right. Curtis Stevens going to toe the free throw line again. That was the second personal foul on Juan Thornhill. 25 seconds remaining in this ball game. Dan River up 8. Strange scene here from Ringold tonight in more ways than one. Free throw up for Stevens. That's no good. Maybe the Colonel free throw shooters aren't the only ones rattled, because Stevens looked good as gold from that free throw stripe earlier. Q Stevens, second one on the way. We got 25 seconds left to play in the ball game. Stevens takes his time. Deep knee bend. It's up. Offside of the iron. Rebounded by Darius Johnson. Colonels are bringing it in the front court quickly. Thornhill, pull up 3. Top of the key. No good. Barely touched the rim. Saved in by Darius Johnson. Nelson, turnaround 3. That one's good. We've got 43-38 now. Colonels trail by too much. We're down to 10 seconds. They're not going to foul intentionally. Well, they do whistle Nelson Dews for just a little bit of a hand check there. I know that wasn't Nelson's intention to stop the clock.
Or Coach Cordellero's.
Right. 6.4 seconds left. Dan River's going to win this ball game. The late 3 there from Nelson Dews not going to be nearly enough. Q Stevens going to step to the free throw line again. Yeah, that was a strange scene there with Michi Malbach shooting technical free throws with no players around him, but fans closer than the hoop.
And that was with about 30 seconds left. That could have cut the lead. If he'd hit those free throws and they convert, it could have cut it to 4. Radically different outcome could have happened.
Yeah, it was an 8-point Dan River lead at that point. If you make both and then score, that's possibly a 4-point or even a 5-point swing if you score the three-pointer. Stevens made the first, missed the second. Doesn't really matter. We're down to 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Thornhill's not even going to try a buzzer beater. We are done from Dan River. Great basketball game. You heard it all live on 105.5 KD Country.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Virginia are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Brought to you by English Construction Company, with offices in Lynchburg.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving families since 1905. Personal, memorable memorial moments, celebrating life and more. Pre-arrangements with confidence, trust and care from our family to yours. Finch and Finch Funeral and Cremation Service. A family serving families since 1905.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
Subway postgame show has arrived. The Dan River Wildcats get a win over Altavista, 44-38. Dan River moves to 14-3 on the season. Colonel's record goes to 11-3 on the season. And Oscar, wow, it was a great ball game, back and forth basketball. 6 lead changes, 5 ties, not counting the 0-0 tie. And Dan River, again, in the fourth quarter, they just seemed to have all the answers in the fourth quarter. They did the same thing at Altavista. They seemed to really be cool, calm, and collected from the free throw line late in that game. I'm not sure they missed in the fourth quarter from the charity stripe.
I think they missed one free throw, and that was early. But, you know, Cully got to the line. He knocked down 4. Kasim Harris, who hadn't even come close all night, knocked down 2. Curtis Stevens missed 1 late when the outcome was decided. But, he was 3 or 4 in that fourth quarter as well. So, we talked about the ineptitude, and we thought from the free throw line and the possibility that, hey, they could be an advantage of the Colonels, but let's give credit to Dan River. They stepped up and knocked them down when it counted.
Got to tip your cap to Kenny Murphy. Again, he had his squad ready. They're always ready. I mean, they're the defending 2A state champions. They've got the defending 1A champs coming in town. He's going to have his squad prepared. You also got to feel like Mike Cardellaro had a great game plan. I think he had the right strategies. He had the right lineups. It's just a question of this Dan River team being so tough, so long, so physical. And again, knock down the shots from the free throw line when it counted. This is the Subway postgame show. I'm Kyle Haney. He is Oscar Briggs. Appreciate you staying with us through our little hiccup that we had there in the fourth quarter. At that point, when that happened, Oscar, it was really Dan River's ball game, and they just kind of rode off into the sunset with the victory like they seemed to do. They were down 5 in the third quarter. A couple times Altavista staked themselves to a 5-point lead, but the Colonels just could not get it done in the fourth quarter. Dan River ends up outscoring Altavista 15-7 there in that fourth quarter, Big O.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit speechless. It was just like you said, Colonels were playing well. We're up. Had that nice little run opening the third quarter, and opened up I think a 5-point lead. Was the biggest lead that the Colonels had, and looked like they were starting to swing their way. We never can count Dan River out, and like you said, Coach Kenny Murphy had his team ready to go tonight. And fourth quarter, when crunch time came, the athleticism and just really took over.
Yeah, that athleticism is a it's a beautiful thing when you have it.
In length.
That's right. Yeah, the speed and the size, the quickness, those things are so valuable in basketball and in sports in general, because those things are not affected by the pressure. Those things are not affected by the close game. You can have a great jump shot, that kind of thing, but when the pressure gets on the line, sometimes it's hard to repeat that jump shot.
Well,
the pressure does not affect being 6'5". You're always 6'5", whether it's a 20-point game or a 1-point game. And, again, that's part of the reason why Dan River's so good.
That's right. And let's give additional credit to Dan River on the defensive side. Darius Johnson with a donut.
Wow.
No points in the second half.
Wow.
And I can't tell you the last time I remember him being shut out in a half.
Well, when you shut out a 1,000-point scorer like Darius Johnson in a half of basketball, you're absolutely right. You've done a number defensively. They always do a number at Subways in Altavista, two great locations, Main Street, and, of course, in the Walmart on the Clarion Road, the Simple 6 menu from Subway. Value made simple every day. Choose from our best 6-inch sandwiches, a bag of chips, and a 21-ounce drink for just $6. That's the Simple 6 menu at Subway. We'll step aside again, collect our thoughts, give you the full point totals, recap this one a bit more, and then see what's coming up next for the Colonels. They dropped this one to Dan River. 44-38 Wildcats win on 105.5 KD Country.
It's cold in here. Will your heating system keep you warm this winter, or will you spend a cold evening shivering under the covers? Have your heating system inspected today by Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling. Kent Tyree has over 20 years experience and specializes in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Licensed and bonded. Call for an appointment today. 309-2266. 309-2266. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling.
Installing atrium vinyl replacement windows is like an investment in your home that can begin to pay dividends right away. You can save up to 30% or more on your home's heating and cooling costs. Add to your home's equity and add to its value by upgrading its looks and energy efficiency. Custom crafted atrium vinyl replacement windows. Invest in your home's future with English's.
English's is your complete home center.
Business 29 Altavista.
A short drive will save you money.
In the market for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com.
A short drive will save you money. Fellers Chevrolet in Altavista.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Final segment of the Subway post-game show here from Ringold, Dan River High School, the site. Dan River getting the win over Altavista, 44-38. I'm Kyle. He's Oscar. Big props to our sound engineer, Eleanor Haney, back at home base. Stayed steadfast there during our little minor technical hiccup that we had. Agent Zero, time for some final scoring, and I'm sure we'll both have a few more things to say about this ball game by the time you get finished reading that.
I expect we will. First for the Altavista, Mitchie Malback with 18, of course, 10 of those coming in that big third quarter, 4 to 4th. Juan Thornhill with 5. Donovan Montague with 2. Darius Johnson, as we talked about earlier, 4 points in the game, all of those coming in the first half. Nelson Dews with 9 with the 3-pointers. One of those was late when the outcome was already decided. 38 for the Colonels. For Dan River, boy, what a balanced attack they had. Curtis Stevens with 13. Rodney Wamba with 6. Tremaine Edmonds with 10. Ian Culley with those 4 big free throws in this fourth quarter. Devin Stone with 3. Kasim Harris with 7. And Quantez Terry with 1. 44 points for the Dan River Wildcats.
Michi Malback with a season high there for him. You mentioned Nelson hitting one of those threes when it didn't really matter. The first two were big and really the Colonels use those as springboards there. Nelson and Michi both have been very hot from outside the three-point line this entire season. Let me put a positive spin on it here for Colonel fans as we continue along on the Subway postgame show. Colonels get their first state championship in 2013. They lost to Dan River twice. Colonels get the second state championship last year. Third total, I don't want to leave out that 04 team. But Colonels get the state championship last year, lost to Dan River twice. Well, lo and behold, we're here in 2015, and they've lost to Dan River twice. Maybe use that as a good omen. And Coach Carlero has always said it makes you better playing a team like this. It has to. I mean, it's rare that you're going to find this type of talent at the 1A level, let alone the 2A level. This Dan River team can go out there and compete with anybody in the state, in my opinion. We saw Spotswood this year. Spotswood was a 3A state semifinalist last year. Dan River has the game that Spotswood has. I'd love to see those two hook it up, actually. That'd be a great game.
Yeah, and again, you're talking about the defending champions, Dan River Wildcats, and they're going to play a part in that role this year.
Yeah.
They could go deep. They certainly can win it all again with the cast of characters that Coach Murphy has.
Yeah, it's a fun team to watch. If you're a basketball fan, you got to like what Coach Murphy does. Coach Jacob Bruce really laid the foundation here. Of course, even before Coach Bruce, Dan River was a basketball hotbed. I mean, I think they were the AA state runner-ups in 2000, and they lost only 5 games that season. They lost all 5 to Martinsville, Oscar. So Dan River has always had basketball players.
And you go back to even in the 70s when Coach Will Rogers was here, and he had Gary Pritchett, Clarence Dickerson, the Motleys. It was a hotbed then. They had some strong teams then as well.
Yeah, strong teams, strong players here at Dan River. Always a fun place to come watch a ball game. It can get a little crowded, and the crowd can get a little hot under the collar. Sometimes it's like a pot of stew. It just waits there to boil over. It's simmering for a while, and then when something happens and at the end of the game, it does start to boil over. Like I said, not an easy job for the refs at all, and I think they did a good job tonight. They should be commended for their performance.
All the Pennsylvania County schools are designed very similarly. Yeah. But certainly this Dan River school, it feels like the fans, it may be because of volume, I don't know, even more so than in the Gretna years, it feels like the fans are much closer to the court. Certainly a very knowledgeable fan base, and let's face it, they want to beat Altavista.
Yeah.
You got the 2-time defending state champion coming to town. And the last 2 years, this same bunch of athletes on the football field, Altavista's taking it to them.
Sure.
So there's a rivalry here, and I mean, we talked about really the state of the programs. The Altavista Dan River has kind of replaced the Altavista Gretna rivalry temporarily.
Right. From a competitive standpoint, this is the rival. And for both ball clubs, I mean, you said it. This is a game that not just Altavista gets jacked up for. The Wildcats and their fan base get jacked up for it as well. I think probably even broadcasters, we get a little up for this Dan River game. 44-38, Wildcats win this one. Let's look ahead for Altavista. It's an interesting week next week. It's a 4-game week. It's starting to feel like baseball season where you're always out there. Altavista will head to Nelson Tuesday. Of course, that game, Subway pregame show, will be on around 6:45 or 7 as usual. Wednesday, back at home against Brookville. That's going to be a good ball game. It was a fun one a couple Saturdays ago on Timberlake Road between the Colonels and the Bees. Friday, Chatham comes back to town. Saturday, Appomattox comes back to town. Oscar, I don't need to remind you what a great game that was between Altavista and Appomattox the first time. So we're heading into a very, very interesting and what I expect to be a very competitive stretch of basketball for the Colonels. Just the fact that they're playing 4 in a week is going to be tough. You do get 3 of them at home, but you still got to go out there for 36 minutes each night and play ball.
Well, that's right.
32 minutes.
And we
get the math wrong.
And we talked about it earlier. We get Demetrius Johnson back.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder what if, didn't have his services tonight. You got to wonder if you had Demetrius, does the outcome different? It really doesn't matter, but good opportunity for a lot of different playing time for the Colonels. And like you said, they got a busy week next week, 4 games, some more tough game. They get Appomattox, and should be a good week for the Colonels.
Yeah, you get a chance to practice tomorrow and Monday, but then other than that, it's going to be grind them out, very tough week. Your chance to win with Subway happens right now. Make sure you like the KD Country Facebook page, and all you have to do is post the words Super Bowl to the KD Country Facebook page. We'll choose from the folks that do, and one lucky fan will get a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subway's in Altavista. The words we're looking for you to post are Super Bowl to the KD Country Facebook page for the win with Subway tonight. It's going to pretty much wrap it up for us.
After we do the Chris Owen Good Hand Player of the Game,
I was just going to say, you can't forget about the Chris Owen Good Hands Award.
And as usual, you got to go first.
I know, that's a scary thought. I think I picked this guy the first time around. I think I'm going to take him again. Hugh Stevens, the senior guard for the Dan River Wildcats, leads them with 13 points. He bounced back after that injury as well. I mean, you called it when he was sort of hobbling off the court. You said, I got a feeling if I know anything about this guy, he'll be back. He came back, knocked down some big free throws down the stretch. Hugh Stevens, very good player, and I have a feeling if he can stay healthy and active, Dan River is going far this year.
I totally agree, and as much as I would like to go a different route with Tremaine Edmonds, who had 10 tonight, I think I have to actually agree with you and go with Q tonight. His floor leadership, defensive job that he did on Michi. Michi scored those 10 really when Q wasn't a factor, so for me, I'm going to agree with you. For Altavista, I'm going to go first, and again I didn't pick him last time, but I'm going to go with Michi. Michi had a great defensive game, was instrumental in the Colonels getting the lead and taking that lead into the fourth quarter with that big 10-point third quarter. So Michi Malbeck did the job tonight for me. For the Colonels.
Team game for both ball clubs, to be sure. I got to agree with you about Michi Malbeck. It's a double dip. We're both going to agree with both teams. 18 points. The way Michi stepped up and fired some of those threes. Defensively, he's always a lockdown type of defender. He scored in some other ways. Malbeck was big tonight. Do want to throw a special emphasis and shout out to the way of guys like Donovan Montague, Darius Johnson, and Jacob McClure. They controlled the glass well, gave the Colonels a chance to win. Our other player of the game, as always, sound engineer Eleanor Haney.
And Josh McClure had a good game as well.
Did I say Jake McClure? I made that mistake.
It's easy to remember.
It is easy
to do that.
And Jake, the Snake McClure, was here in attendance again, back from boot camp at Paris Island. So shout out to Jake McClure. But, Josh McClure, the player on the Colonels roster this season. Bob Alvis made that mistake the other day, and I gave him a hard time. You kind of have to. Of course, the Good Hands Award and the live internet broadcast at kdcountry.com, all brought to you by Chris Owen, your Allstate agent in Lynchburg. Go online and search for Chris Owen. Get a quote from him today. Our broadcast also presented by English Construction, wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game. Highview Motors, GMC, from small to tall. Highview has it all. Tyree Little's heating and cooling, keeping you cool in the summer, warm in the winter, comfortable in between. English Building Supply, your complete home center and your Atrium Vinyl Window headquarters. Fellers Chevrolet, a short drive will save you money. Hey, folks, also want to mention Fellers is going to host Juan Thornhill for the National Signing Day on Monday. I believe that's at 2. You'll get some more details on that, the game Tuesday, but I know they would like to have some fans come out and watch Juan do that. Should be a good atmosphere down there at Fellers on Wednesday afternoon. Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Services, a family serving families since 1905. Select Air, Mechanical, and Electrical, your authorized train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Bug Motors, over 40 cars and trucks in stock. And I'm sure you've heard the Bug Motors Morning Show, your only place to win Regal Cinemas movie tickets every morning, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with Dave Haney. The First National Bank, focused on providing an extraordinary customer experience. This has been the Subway post-game show. Make sure you eat fresh. Both great locations in Altavista, Main Street, and the Walmart on the Clarion Road. That's going to wrap it up for us. For Mike Cardellaro, I am Kyle Haney. He is Oscar Briggs. Eleanor Haney back at home base. Dan River wins 44-38. Great ball game. You may want to YouTube this one and listen to it again. We had a lot of fun here from Dan River. Colonels back in action on the hardwoods Tuesday at Nelson County. Subway pregame show starts around 6:45. Until then, enjoy the real country music on 105.5 KD Country.